Have you ever stood in front of a mirror and noticed something you hadn't seen before? A stray hair, a new line around your eyes, the way the light catches your expression. In that moment, the mirror simply reflects what is. It doesn't judge, it doesn't create, it just shows you the reality you present to it. But what if I told you there's another kind of mirror? A mirror so powerful, it doesn't just reflect your reality, it helps create it. A mirror that responds not to your physical body, but to the focus of your mind. This isn't science fiction. This is the strange and wonderful truth at the heart of our universe and, more importantly, at the heart of you. This is the observer effect. In the world of quantum physics, scientists discovered something that baffled them for decades. Tiny particles, the very building blocks of our world, behave differently when they are being watched. When unobserved, they exist in a cloud of pure potential, a wave of infinite possibilities. But the moment an observer focuses on them, the moment a measurement is taken, that wave of potential collapses into a single concrete reality. The act of observation itself seems to force a choice out of the universe. Now bring that staggering idea out of the laboratory and into your life. Into your living room, your office, your relationships, your bank account. What if your life, right now, is a field of infinite potential? And what if the reality you are currently experiencing is simply the result of where you have been placing your observation? This brings us to the most important question you will ever ask yourself, the question that is the foundation of this entire book. Are you merely watching your life as if it's a movie you have no control over? Or are you the conscious observer whose focus is collapsing the waves of potential into the reality you experience every single day? For so many of us, life feels like something that happens to us. Does this sound familiar? You wake up to the same alarm, you feel that same knot of anxiety about the day ahead. You drive the same route to work, sit in the same traffic, and listen to the same news reports about a world on fire. You have the same frustrating conversation with your boss or your partner. You look at your bills and feel that same familiar squeeze of scarcity. You go to bed exhausted, promising yourself that tomorrow will be different, only to wake up and press play on the exact same recording. You are a spectator in the stadium of your own existence. You're sitting in the nosebleed section, watching the events unfold on the field below, feeling a frustrating mix of hope and powerlessness. You cheer when things go your way, you groan when they don't. You might shout advice from the stands, but you feel fundamentally disconnected from the players, from the action, from the outcome of the game. You believe that the game is being controlled by external forces, your past, your boss, the economy, your family, your luck. And so, you watch. You watch and you wait. You wait for your break. You wait for things to get better. You wait for someone to come and rescue you, to change the rules of the game. This feeling of being a passive observer isn't a personal failing. It's not because you're weak or lazy or broken. It's the default setting of a human system that was brilliantly designed for something that most of us no longer face: daily survival in a physically dangerous world. To understand why you feel stuck on the sidelines, we have to look under the hood. We have to look at the remarkable and often misunderstood machinery of your own mind and body. Your brain is not designed, by default, to make you happy, fulfilled, or successful. Its number one priority, an objective hardwired into it over millions of years of evolution, is to keep you safe, to keep you alive. Think of your brain as having two key players in this drama: the hypervigilant security guard and the wise, visionary CEO. The security guard is your amygdala. It's a small, almond-shaped part of your brain, and it is the ancient, lightning-fast hub of your survival instinct. Its job is to constantly scan your environment for threats. Is that a snake in the grass? Is that person a friend or a foe? Am I about to be rejected by my tribe? When the amygdala senses danger, real or perceived, it hits the panic button. It floods your system with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart pounds, your breathing gets shallow, your blood pressure rises. All your energy is diverted to your limbs so you can fight, flee, or freeze. This is the famous fight or flight response. It's a biological masterpiece for surviving an attack from a saber-toothed tiger. The problem is, in our modern world, the saber-toothed tigers are emails from our boss, unexpected bills, traffic jams, and arguments on social media. Your amygdala can't tell the difference between a threat to your life and a threat to your ego. It just sounds the alarm. Now, who is the CEO? That's your prefrontal cortex. This is the most evolved part of your brain, sitting right behind your forehead. This is the seat of your conscious awareness, your long-term planning, your rational thought, your creativity, and your ability to direct your focus. The prefrontal cortex is the part of you that can imagine a different future, solve complex problems, and make deliberate choices. It is the architect of your reality. But here's the crucial biological catch. When the security guard, the amygdala, is screaming that the building is on fire, the CEO is told to evacuate. The prefrontal cortex essentially goes offline. When you are in a state of chronic stress, worry, or fear, your brain physically diverts resources away from the thoughtful, creative CEO and gives them all to the reactive, panicky security guard. You literally lose access to the most powerful, reality-creating part of your mind. You cannot design a new future when your entire biology is convinced it needs to survive the next 5 minutes. This state of chronic, low-grade fight-or-flight is the biological foundation of being a spectator. When you're living in survival mode, your world shrinks. Your focus narrows to one thing and one thing only: the problem, the threat, the source of the stress. You are constantly observing what you don't want. You're staring at the debt, so your body produces the chemical signature of scarcity. You're replaying the argument, so your body relives the feelings of anger and injustice. You're worrying about getting sick, so your body is marinated in the chemistry of fear. This isn't just a psychological state, it's a biochemical one. That cortisol, the primary stress hormone, is designed for short bursts. But when you live in that spectator state, it drips into your system constantly. It impairs your memory, suppresses your immune system, and, most insidiously, it reinforces the very neural circuits that produce the stress in the first place. You become caught in a feedback loop. You think stressful thoughts, which create stressful feelings, which release stress hormones, which cause you to think more stressful thoughts. You are caught in a chemical prison of your own making, and you don't even realize you're the one holding the key. To make matters worse, our brains have another evolutionary feature working against us: the negativity bias. Your ancestors' survival depended far more on noticing the one tiger in the bushes than the 10 beautiful sunsets. Missing a threat could mean death. Missing a beautiful moment was a missed opportunity, but it wasn't fatal. As a result, your brain evolved to be like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. It is biologically programmed to pay more attention to, learn from, and remember what's going wrong. Have you ever had a fantastic day filled with small wins and pleasant moments, but the one thing you can't stop thinking about before you go to sleep is that one critical comment someone made? That's the negativity bias in action. It's an ancient survival program that is now keeping you locked in a pattern of focusing on lack, on problems, on everything you fear. So let's recap this agitating truth. You have a brain that is hardwired for survival, not creation. It has a built-in alarm system that is easily triggered by modern life, hijacking your ability to think clearly and creatively. It's chemically addicted to the rush of stress hormones, and it has a natural bias towards focusing on what's wrong. When you put all this together, is it any wonder you feel like a spectator? Your biology has cast you in that role. It has scripted you to react, not to create. It has trained you to watch for danger, not to look for opportunity. And here is where the story gets truly fascinating. This is where we pivot from being victims of our biology to being masters of it. The very same principle that got you stuck is the principle that will set you free. That principle is called neuroplasticity. For centuries, science believed that the brain was fixed by early adulthood, that the wiring you had was the wiring you were stuck with for life. But over the last few decades, neuroscience has proven this to be completely false. The brain is profoundly plastic or malleable. It is constantly reorganizing itself, forming new connections and pruning old ones based on your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors, and most importantly, your focus. The famous saying in neuroscience is, neurons that fire together wire together. Every time you have a thought, a set of neurons fires in a specific sequence. When you repeat that thought, that same sequence of neurons fires again, and the connection between them gets stronger. It's like forging a path in a dense jungle. The first time, it's difficult. You have to push through the undergrowth. But if you walk that same path every day, soon you wear a groove into the earth. The path becomes wider, smoother, easier to travel. After a while, it becomes a well-worn road. Eventually, it becomes a superhighway. You don't even have to think about it anymore. Your feet just naturally find the path. The spectator self, the state of anxiety, worry, and powerlessness, is nothing more than a neurological superhighway you have unintentionally built in your brain. Your repetitive thoughts of lack, your habitual emotional reactions of fear, your automatic behaviors of procrastination or complaint, these have fired and wired together so many times that they have become your brain's default path. This is the autopilot we will explore in the next chapter. It's the unconscious script that runs your life. But here is the earth-shattering, life-altering good news. Neuroplasticity means that your brain is not your destiny. It is your instrument. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker of your thoughts. The very same process that created the old neural pathways of the spectator can be consciously harnessed to build new neural pathways of the creator. This is the solution. This is where the observer effect transitions from a cool scientific concept into the most practical tool for transformation you will ever possess. The first step in changing anything is to become aware of it. You cannot change a program that is running unconsciously. The act of becoming the observer of your own mind is the first, most critical step in taking back control. It's like a computer programmer finally gaining access to the source code. This isn't about fighting your thoughts or punishing yourself for your feelings. That's a war you will never win. It's about stepping back and simply noticing. It's about shifting from being in the chaotic storm of your mind to being the calm, stable witness watching the storm. When a thought of worry arises, "I'll never be able to pay that bill," instead of being swept away by it, you, the observer, simply notice it. "Ah, there is the thought of worry. Interesting." In that moment of conscious, non-judgmental observation, something miraculous happens. You activate your prefrontal cortex. You bring the CEO back online. By simply noticing the thought, instead of being consumed by it, you create a tiny space between the stimulus, the thought, and your response, the habitual feeling of panic. You stop the automatic firing of the old neural pathway. You are no longer just reacting. You are observing. This is the quantum leap. You are shifting your identity from the person having the experience to the consciousness that is aware of the person having the experience. Think of it like this. Your mind is a wild, powerful horse. For most of your life, this horse has been dragging you wherever it wanted to go, chasing after fears and running from shadows. You've been clinging on for dear life, believing you are at the mercy of the horse. Becoming the observer is the moment you realize you are not the one being dragged. You are the rider. The first step isn't to tame the horse with a whip, but to simply watch it, to understand its habits, its fears, its patterns, to build a relationship with it based on awareness, not force. Only then can you gently take the reins and begin to guide it in a new direction. Your attention is the currency of reality. Where you place your attention, you place your energy. And where you place your energy is what you bring to life. For years, you have been unconsciously placing your attention on the reflection in the mirror you didn't like. You've been focused on the lack, the fear, the problems. You've been observing a reality of limitation. And like a faithful quantum mirror, your life has been reflecting that limitation back to you, hardening it into fact. The neurons for "I'm not good enough" have fired and wired into a superhighway. The chemistry of stress has become your baseline state. The work we are about to begin is the process of deliberately, consciously, and persistently shifting your observation. It's about withdrawing your attention from the reality you don't want and placing it squarely on the future you do want, until that future becomes your dominant present. It's about learning to use your focus like a spotlight, starving the old neural pathways of your attention and nourishing the new ones. It's about building a new superhighway in your brain, a highway of gratitude, of possibility, of empowerment. This is not a passive exercise in positive thinking. This is an active process of neurological and biological re-engineering. You are going to become the architect of your own brain. You are going to learn how to step back from the automatic programming of your past and become the conscious observer of your thoughts and feelings. From that place of power, you will learn to choose new thoughts, generate new feelings, and take new actions that will signal a new reality to the quantum mirror of the universe. So, I ask you again, are you watching your life or are you creating it? Until now, you may have been an unconscious spectator, a victim of your own brilliant but misguided survival programming. But that ends today, right now. By listening to these words, you have already begun the process. You are stepping out of the stands and onto the field. You are awakening to the incredible power that has been dormant within you all along, the power of the conscious observer. In the next chapter, we will dive deeper into the autopilot trap, exposing the unconscious scripts and hidden programs that have been running your life. But for now, I want you to hold on to this one central idea. Your life is a mirror, and you are the one looking into it. It's time to stop reacting to the reflection and start deliberately creating the person you want it to reflect. The power to collapse potential into reality is not out there somewhere. It's right behind your eyes. When was the last time you consciously chose your first thought of the day? Not the thought that ambushed you the moment you opened your eyes, the worry about the looming deadline, the replay of yesterday's argument, the dull ache of dissatisfaction. I mean a thought you deliberately, intentionally placed in the center of your mind, like placing a compass needle on true north before starting a journey. If you're struggling to remember, you're not alone. The truth is, for most of us, most of the time, we are not the ones in the driver's seat of our own minds. We're in the passenger seat, or maybe even asleep in the back while something else does the driving. We experience our days as a series of reactions, not conscious choices. The alarm blares, we groan. The coffee maker sputters, we feel irritated. A news alert flashes, we feel a jolt of anxiety. We move from one trigger to the next, our emotional state bouncing around like a pinball, completely at the mercy of the machine. This is the autopilot trap, and it's the single greatest obstacle standing between the life you're living and the reality you're capable of creating. It's a silent, invisible cage built from the bars of your own unconscious habits, beliefs, and emotional patterns. It's a life lived from a script you didn't write, you didn't approve, and you don't even remember reading. Yet you perform it day in and day out with flawless precision. You see it in the way you automatically reach for your phone the second you have a spare moment. You feel it in the familiar tightening in your chest when your boss sends a one-word email that just says, "Hi." You hear it in the words that fly out of your mouth during a disagreement, the same old phrases you swore you'd never use again. Each of these moments is a scene from your unconscious script. And this script isn't just dictating your small actions, it's directing the entire movie of your life. It's keeping you in the same job, the same relationships, the same state of health, and the same level of abundance, because the script rarely changes. But here's the most important thing you need to understand. This autopilot system isn't a personal failing. It's not a sign of weakness or a lack of willpower. It is, in fact, a feature of your brilliant biological design. Your brain is the most powerful and efficient energy management system known to science. Conscious thought, making deliberate choices, learning new things, being present, requires an enormous amount of metabolic energy. To conserve that precious energy, your brain is designed to automate everything it possibly can. Think of it like this. When you first learned to drive a car, every action was conscious. Your hands gripped the wheel at 10 and 2, you checked your mirrors, your speed, your blind spot. Your prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain, the seat of conscious decision-making, was fully engaged and working overtime. It was exhausting. But after weeks and months, something magical happened. You started driving without thinking about it. You could navigate traffic, change lanes, and hold a conversation, all while your conscious mind was a million miles away, planning dinner or thinking about a work project. What happened? Your brain built and reinforced a set of neural pathways. It created a program, a driving script, and moved it from the energy-expensive conscious mind to the highly efficient subconscious mind. These neural pathways are like well-worn trails in a forest. The first time you walk a path, you have to push through branches and watch every step. The 100th time, the path is clear, deep, and easy to follow. You can walk it in the dark. Your brain has done this with almost everything in your life. The way you brush your teeth, the way you respond to criticism, the beliefs you hold about money, love, and your own capabilities. All of it has been practiced so many times that it's become a deeply grooved neural pathway, an unconscious script. The brain does this to be efficient, to free up your conscious mind to focus on new threats and opportunities. It's a survival mechanism. But this brilliant survival mechanism has a critical flaw in the modern world. It doesn't distinguish between a helpful script and a harmful one. It only knows repetition. If you have repeatedly thought, "I'm not good enough," your brain doesn't question it. It just deepens that path, making that thought easier and more automatic to think tomorrow. If you have repeatedly reacted to stress by eating junk food or picking a fight, your brain diligently strengthens that connection, making it your default stress response. The part of your brain running this show is often the most ancient, primitive part, the limbic system, and specifically a little almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. This is your brain's alarm system. Its primary job is to scan the environment for danger and trigger the fight-or-flight response. For our ancestors, this was life-saving. A rustle in the bushes could mean a saber-toothed tiger, and the amygdala would flood the body with adrenaline and cortisol, the stress hormones, to prepare for immediate physical action. There was no time for conscious thought. React first, ask questions later. The problem is, your amygdala hasn't had a software update in about 200,000 years. It can't tell the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and a critical email from your boss. It can't distinguish between the threat of starvation and the anxiety of seeing your ex with someone new on social media. It just sees a threat and pulls the alarm. So, when you live on autopilot, you are essentially letting this ancient, fearful, reactive part of your brain run your life. Your body is in a near-constant state of low-grade fight-or-flight. That chronic drip, drip, drip of cortisol suppresses your immune system, disrupts your sleep, fogs your thinking, and leads to burnout. The unconscious script is not just making you unhappy, it is making you sick. Furthermore, this system is wired with a powerful negativity bias. Your brain is designed to be Velcro for bad experiences and Teflon for good ones. Why? For survival. Our ancestors didn't survive by remembering the beautiful sunset. They survived by remembering which berries were poisonous and where the predators hunted. One negative event had far more impact on survival than a dozen positive ones. So, your brain is constantly scanning for what's wrong, what's missing, what could go wrong. Your unconscious script is a drama, a tragedy, a horror film, because that's what your survival brain believes it needs to focus on to keep you safe. This is the autopilot trap. It's a prison of your own biology, designed with the best of intentions to keep you safe and conserve your energy, but it has inadvertently trapped you in a cycle of repetitive thinking, feeling, and behavior that keeps you stuck in a reality you don't want. You are living out a program based on every fear, every limitation, and every painful experience from your past. So, how do you escape? How do you wake up from the script? You don't fight it. You don't wrestle the steering wheel from the autopilot. That only creates more resistance, more stress, more conflict. You can't defeat your own biology, but you can understand it, you can work with it, you can become its master. The solution? The key that unlocks the trap is not force, it is awareness. Awareness is the act of turning the lights on in a dark room. It's the moment you stop being the actor in the movie and become the audience watching it unfold. This is the first crucial step in engaging the observer effect. You must first observe the program before you can change it. You cannot rewrite a script that you don't even know you're reading from. This act of observation is a biological game changer. It signals a power shift in the brain. When you are lost in a reaction, consumed by anger, anxiety, or craving, your primitive limbic system is in control. But the moment you become aware of it, the moment a part of you can say, "Ah, there is anger," or "I am feeling the pull of that old craving," you activate your prefrontal cortex. You bring the CEO back online. The simple act of noticing your autopilot programming begins to disengage it. This is the beginning of waking up, and I want to give you 3 practical, powerful tools you can start using today to pull yourself out of the autopilot trap and into the seat of conscious creation. These aren't complex meditations that require hours of practice. They are simple, potent techniques designed to be used in the midst of your busy life. The first tool is what I call the pattern interrupt. Your autopilot runs on momentum. It flows uninterrupted from one unconscious action to the next. Your job is to interrupt that flow. The easiest way to do this is to set a few random alarms on your phone throughout the day. Label the alarm with a simple question, like, "Am I awake?" or "Who is in charge?" When the alarm goes off, you stop. Whatever you are doing, you just stop for one full breath. And in that pause, you ask yourself 3 simple questions. 1. What am I thinking right now? Don't judge the thought, just notice it. Is it a worry, a memory, a judgment? Just label it. 2. What am I feeling in my body right now? Is there tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach, a sense of calm? Again, just notice. 3. What was I just doing, and was it a conscious choice? Were you mindlessly scrolling, automatically reacting, or were you present and deliberate? This exercise takes less than 30 seconds, but it is profoundly powerful. Each time you do it, you are breaking the trance. You are snapping yourself out of the unconscious script. You are practicing the art of stepping back and observing your own mind and body. You are strengthening the neural pathways of awareness, building the muscle of your prefrontal cortex. You are reminding yourself that there is a you that is separate from your thoughts, emotions, and habits. There is an observer. The second tool is a technique from modern neuroscience called Name It to Tame It. As we discussed, when you're in the grip of a strong negative emotion, fear, anger, shame, your amygdala is firing on all cylinders. It's a storm in your brain. Research shows that the simple act of putting a label on that feeling has a remarkable effect. The next time you feel a wave of anxiety, for instance, instead of being swept away by it, I want you to mentally take a step back and just say the words, "This is anxiety," or "I am noticing the feeling of frustration." By labeling the emotion, you engage the language centers in your prefrontal cortex. This act alone reduces the activity in your amygdala. It's like turning on the lights during a scary movie. Suddenly, the monster doesn't seem so real. When you name the feeling, you create a space between you and the feeling. You are no longer anxious. You are the observer who is noticing the presence of anxiety. The emotion is no longer you. It is an experience you are having. It is a passing cloud in the vast sky of your awareness. This simple practice stops the emotional hijack in its tracks and returns the power of choice to you. The third, and perhaps most vital tool, is the cultivation of the choice point. The unconscious script works by eliminating the space between a trigger and your response. The email arrives and instantly you feel stress. Someone cuts you off in traffic and instantly you feel anger. The script is so fast, so automatic, it feels like there is no choice. Your work is to create one, to deliberately insert a pause, even for just 1 second, between stimulus and response. That 1 second is where your freedom lives. That 1 second is the gap where the observer can step in. So, the next time your phone rings, don't just snatch it up. Let it ring one extra time. Take one breath. Then choose to answer. The next time you feel provoked in a conversation, before you speak, take one silent breath. That pause is the choice point. In that moment, you break the chain of unconscious reaction. You can ask yourself, how do I want to respond here? What response is in line with the person I want to be and the reality I want to create? You may still choose the old response. That's okay. The victory isn't in choosing the right response. The victory is in realizing you have a choice at all. Every time you create that pause, you are dissolving the power of the old script and reclaiming your own. Waking up from the autopilot is not a one-time event. It is a moment-by-moment practice. It is the practice of interrupting the pattern, naming the feeling, and finding the choice point. It is a commitment to stop being a passenger in your own life and to start, deliberately and consciously, taking the wheel. Your biology is not your destiny. Your brain's programming is not the final word. The unconscious script feels permanent, but it is written in pencil, not ink. You have the power to pick up the eraser. That power isn't in fighting your own mind or criticizing yourself for your automatic reactions. The power is in the gentle, persistent, and loving act of paying attention. It is the power of your own awareness. You are not the autopilot. You are not the script. You are the one who is waking up to it. Now that you've learned to spot the ghost in the machine, in the next chapter, we'll discover how to give it new instructions. We'll explore how your focus isn't just a mental flashlight, it's the very tool that bends reality. Have you ever felt like you're just a passenger in your own body? Like there's a part of you that wants to go one way, towards success, towards peace, towards joy. But the vehicle itself, your own mind, seems to have a mind of its own, constantly pulling you back into the familiar territory of worry, doubt, and fear. Who or what is really at the controls? In our last chapter, we peeled back the curtain on the autopilot trap, revealing the unconscious scripts that run our lives. Today, we're going deeper. We're going to meet the pilot and the saboteur. We're going to look inside the cockpit of your mind and introduce you to the ghost in the machine. That ghost is your focus. And by the end of this chapter, you will understand that it is the single most powerful force you possess for bending your reality. Let's start with the machine itself, your brain. For a moment, I want you to stop thinking of your brain as you. Instead, think of it as an incredibly powerful, ancient piece of biological hardware. It's a survival machine honed over millions of years with one primary directive: keep you alive. Not happy, not fulfilled, not successful, just alive. And to do its job effectively, this machine came pre-installed with some very specific software. The most dominant program running in the background, 24/7, is something neuroscientists call the negativity bias. It's a simple but profound concept. Your brain is biologically hardwired to pay more attention to negative experiences than positive ones. It's designed to scan your environment not for opportunities, but for threats. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. Imagine two of our early ancestors walking on the savannah. One of them, let's call him Grok, is an optimist. He's admiring the beautiful sunset, smelling the wildflowers, thinking about what a great day it is. The other, Ugg, is a worrier. He's scanning the tall grass, listening for a rustle, sniffing the air for predators. He's noticed the birds have gone quiet. Who do you think is more likely to pass on their genes? It's Ugg, of course. Grok gets eaten by the saber-toothed tiger he didn't see coming. Ugg, the worrier, the scanner of threats, survives. We are the descendants of Ugg. We have inherited his survival-oriented brain. Your brain is not wired to make you happy, it's wired to make you safe. And in its ancient primal logic, safe means constantly looking for what's wrong, what could go wrong, and what has gone wrong before. It's like having a dedicated news channel in your head that only reports on potential dangers, past mistakes, and looming disasters. It's doing its job, but it's giving you a terrifyingly skewed version of reality. This isn't just a metaphor, it's biology. Deep within your brain is a small, almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. This is your emotional smoke detector. It's constantly scanning your perceptions for danger. When it senses a threat, real or imagined, it sounds the alarm. It floods your system with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, preparing you for fight, flight, or freeze. This was incredibly useful when the threat was a tiger. Your heart pounds, your muscles tense, your focus narrows to a pinpoint on the danger. You are ready for action. But here's the problem. In our modern world, the tigers have changed. The threat isn't a predator in the bushes. It's an angry email from your boss. It's an unexpected bill in the mail. It's a passive-aggressive comment from a family member. It's the traffic jam that's making you late. Your amygdala, this ancient alarm system, can't tell the difference between a life-threatening predator and a looming deadline. It just registers threat and pulls the fire alarm. So what happens? You live in a state of chronic, low-grade stress. A constant trickle of cortisol seeps into your system. You feel that familiar hum of anxiety in your chest, that tightness in your shoulders, that vague sense of dread that something is or is about to be wrong. This is the machine on its default setting. This is the background noise of the autopilot we talked about in Chapter 2. It's the constant, subtle hum of a machine built for a world that no longer exists, trying its best to protect you from dangers that are now largely psychological. This is the problem. Now, let's agitate it. Let's talk about what it feels like to live your life dictated by this machine. When your brain's default setting is to scan for threats, what do you think it finds? It finds them everywhere. Your focus becomes a powerful searchlight, and the negativity bias sets the coordinates. You're not creating the problems, not entirely, but your focus is illuminating them, magnifying them, and bringing them from the periphery of your reality right to the center stage. Have you ever decided to buy a new car? Let's say you decide you want a blue SUV. Suddenly, what do you see everywhere you look? Blue SUVs. They seem to materialize out of thin air. Were there suddenly more blue SUVs on the road? Of course not. They were always there, but now you've given your brain a command. You've told your focus what to look for, and it has diligently started filtering your reality to show you exactly that. This filtering system is a function of a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, or RAS. It's the gatekeeper of the information that gets through to your conscious mind. You are bombarded with millions of bits of data every second. Your RS filters out the noise and only shows you what you've tagged as important. Now, apply this to the negativity bias. If your underlying unconscious program is "the world is a dangerous place," "I'm not good enough," or "things always go wrong for me," what do you think your searchlight, your focus, is going to find? It will find evidence to support those beliefs. It will highlight the one critical comment in a sea of praise. It will fixate on the one thing that went wrong in a day that was 90% successful. It will zoom in on the scowl on a stranger's face and completely miss the 10 smiling people who walked by just before. Your focus doesn't just observe reality, it selects it, it curates it. It takes the infinite neutral data of the universe and organizes it into a story. And when the machine is in charge, that story is almost always a horror story or a tragedy. You find yourself in a self-fulfilling prophecy. You expect things to be difficult, so you unconsciously look for the difficulty, and when you find it, you say, "See, I knew it." You're not a victim of reality. You're a victim of your own highly attuned threat-detecting focus. You are trapped in a reality that your own brain has bent into a shape that confirms its deepest fears. This is a disempowering, exhausting way to live. It feels like you're trying to swim upstream against a relentless current of anxiety and negativity. It feels like the machine is driving and you are just along for the terrifying ride. But this is not the end of the story, because you are not just the machine. You are also the ghost in the machine. The ghost in the machine is your consciousness. It is your awareness. It is the part of you that can observe your own thoughts. It's the silent watcher we're going to get to know intimately in our next chapter. And this ghost, this conscious awareness, has access to a part of the brain the machine's primal programming doesn't: the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex, or PFC, is the most evolved part of your brain, located right behind your forehead. Think of it as the CEO of your brain. While the amygdala is the frantic, screaming security guard in the basement, the PFC is the calm, rational executive in the corner office. It's responsible for higher-level thinking, long-term planning, decision-making, and, this is the most important part, directing your attention. The amygdala shouts, "Tiger, we're all going to die!" The prefrontal cortex can look at the data and say, "Thank you for the alert. I've reviewed the situation. It's not a tiger. It's just an email. We can handle this." You have a choice. You can let the security guard run the company, creating chaos and panic, or you can step into your role as the CEO and consciously decide where the company's resources, your attention, and your focus are going to be directed. This isn't just wishful thinking or a cute metaphor. This is the miracle of neuroplasticity. For decades, we believed the brain was a fixed, static organ, that after a certain age, the wiring was set. We now know that is completely false. Your brain is dynamic, malleable, and constantly rewiring itself based on your experiences, your thoughts, and most importantly, your focus. The famous saying in neuroscience is, "Neurons that fire together, wire together." I want you to imagine your brain is a dense, untamed forest. Every thought you have is like a person walking through that forest, creating a faint path. When you first have a thought, like, "I can handle this," the path is barely there. You have to push through the undergrowth. It's difficult. Meanwhile, the old negative thoughts, like, "I'm going to fail," have been walked so many times that they are no longer paths. They are 8-lane superhighways. The electrical signals in your brain flow down these highways effortlessly. This is why it's so easy to slip back into old patterns of worry and doubt. It's the path of least resistance. But here's the magic. Every single time you refuse to go down that superhighway of negativity and instead consciously hack your way down the new, positive path, every time you redirect your focus, you are reinforcing that new trail. The first time, it's hard. The 10th time, it's a little easier. The 1000th time, you've carved a new, reliable footpath. Keep walking it, and that path becomes a road. Keep walking it, and it becomes its own superhighway. At the same time, the old superhighway of negativity, now unused, begins to fall into disrepair. Grass grows in the cracks. The jungle slowly reclaims it. You are literally, physically, rewiring the structure of your brain with the power of your focus. You are using the ghost of your consciousness to reprogram the machine. So, how do we begin? How do we start this process of taking control of the searchlight and carving new paths in the forest of our mind? It starts with a simple, powerful practice you can begin the moment you finish listening to this chapter. I call it the ART of focus. Acknowledge, reframe, target. The first step is acknowledge. When you feel that familiar spike of anxiety, that spiral of negative thought, the first thing you must do is not to fight it. Fighting it gives it energy. Instead, you simply acknowledge it. You notice it. You say internally, "Ah, there's the machine. There's the negativity bias. My amygdala is trying to keep me safe." By naming it, you separate yourself from it. You are no longer the anxiety. You are the one observing the anxiety. You're stepping into the role of the ghost, watching the machine. You can even thank it. "Thanks, brain, for looking out for me. I've got it from here." This simple act of acknowledgement activates your prefrontal cortex. You're moving out of the reactive, emotional brain and into the conscious, executive brain. The second step is reframe. You must gently challenge the story the machine is telling you. The amygdala sees only problems and threats. The PFC can see a bigger picture. If your thought is, "This project is a disaster, I'll never get it done," a reframe isn't a lie like, "This project is perfect and easy." That's not believable. A reframe is a shift in perspective. It could be, "This project is challenging and I am capable of figuring out the next step." Or, "This is an opportunity to learn and grow." Or even just, "I'm feeling overwhelmed right now, but I have overcome challenges before." The reframe isn't about toxic positivity. It's about finding a more empowering, more accurate, and more useful truth. You are taking the lens of fear off the camera and replacing it with a lens of possibility. The third and final step is target. This is the most crucial part. You must consciously and deliberately place your focus, your searchlight, onto something productive. This is not about just thinking a new thought. It's about directing your attention. Ask yourself a better question. Instead of asking what could go wrong, which is the machine's favorite question, you target your focus by asking, "What is one small thing I can do right now to move forward?" Or, "What is within my control in this situation?" Or, "What is one thing I can be grateful for in this moment?" When you do this, you are physically shifting the energy and blood flow in your brain. You are taking the spotlight off the panicking amygdala and shining it onto the problem-solving prefrontal cortex. You are actively hacking a new path through the forest. Acknowledge, reframe, target. This isn't a one-time fix. It's a practice. It's a workout for your brain. The first few times you do it, it will feel clumsy and difficult. Your mind will want to snap back to the old superhighway of worry. That's normal. That's the machine's programming. But your job is not to be perfect. Your job is to be persistent. Every time you catch yourself on the old road and consciously choose the new path, you are casting a vote for a new reality. You are laying down another millimeter of asphalt on your new highway to peace, clarity, and empowerment. The ghost in the machine is not some ethereal, powerless entity. It is the director. It is the architect. It is the conscious creator that holds the blueprints. Your focus is the tool you use to command the incredible, powerful machine of your brain and body. Where you place your focus, you place your energy. Where you place your energy, you build your life. You are not a victim of your brain's ancient programming. You are the programmer. You have the power to bend your reality because you have the power to bend your focus. The question is no longer who is at the controls. The question is, are you ready to take them? Now that you understand the immense power of your focus and how to begin directing it, you might be asking, how do I get better at this? How do I stop being pulled into the machine's drama and learn to stay in that calm, empowered place of the observer? That is the next critical step in our journey. In Chapter 4, we will learn exactly that. We will explore stepping outside the frame, the art of becoming the silent watcher. Have you ever felt trapped inside a moment of white-hot anger, a wave of crushing anxiety, a fog of deep sadness? A moment where you feel like a passenger in your own body, watching yourself react, speak, and feel on a script you didn't write and can't seem to stop. In those moments, the world shrinks down to the size of that single, overwhelming feeling. It becomes the entire frame of your reality. Everything you see, everything you think, everything you are is filtered through that intense lens. and the idea of stepping outside of it seems not just difficult but impossible. That feeling is the very essence of being caught in the autopilot trap we talked about before. It's the ghost in the machine running the show. But today, right now, we're going to do the impossible. We're going to learn how to step outside that frame. We're going to discover the art of becoming the silent watcher. To do that, we first have to understand what's really happening inside your head when you get emotionally hijacked. This isn't a character flaw. It's not a weakness. It's biology. It's a system designed for survival in a world that no longer exists, running on ancient software in the supercomputer between your ears. Imagine you're walking through a jungle thousands of years ago. Suddenly, a twig snaps in the bushes. Instantly, before you can even consciously think, "Is that a tiger?" your body has already reacted. Your heart is pounding, adrenaline is coursing through your veins. Your pupils are dilated. Your muscles are tensed, ready to fight or flee. The part of your brain responsible for this lightning-fast reaction is a tiny, almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. Think of your amygdala as the brain's emergency broadcast system or its hypersensitive smoke detector. Its one and only job is to scan your environment for threats and, at the slightest hint of danger, pull the fire alarm. It doesn't care about nuance. It doesn't wait for all the facts. It screams "danger" first and asks questions later. When it pulls that alarm, it floods your system with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, effectively hijacking your rational mind and putting your body into survival mode. This was an incredible evolutionary advantage in the jungle. The human who waited to logically analyze the snapping twig often became lunch. The one who reacted instantly survived to pass on their genes, your genes. But here's the problem. Your amygdala hasn't gotten the memo that you no longer live in a jungle. It can't tell the difference between a life-threatening predator and an email from your boss with the subject line, "We need to talk." It can't distinguish between the threat of starvation and the threat of a traffic jam making you late for an appointment. To your amygdala, a perceived social threat, like the fear of being judged, or the sting of criticism, or even an angry comment on your social media post, can trigger the exact same primal, red alert, fight or flight response. So, day in and day out, your ancient survival system is being triggered by modern life. The cortisol flows, your heart rate goes up, your breathing becomes shallow, and your brain's resources are diverted away from the thoughtful, creative, problem-solving part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, and channeled directly into survival. You're not thinking clearly, you're reacting. You're stuck inside the frame of fear or anger or stress. To make matters worse, our brains have what psychologists call a negativity bias. This is another evolutionary hangover. Your ancestors' survival depended far more on noticing the one poisonous berry than the 100 safe ones. They had to be hyper-aware of threats. Because of this, your brain is like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. You can receive 10 compliments and 1 criticism, and what do you spend the rest of the day thinking about? It's not your fault. Your brain is literally hardwired to scan for and cling to the negative. This combination, a hypersensitive amygdala and a built-in negativity bias, is the reason you get stuck in the frame. It's why a small worry can spiral into a full-blown anxiety attack. It's why a minor annoyance can erupt into a relationship-damaging fight. You're being hijacked by a system designed to save you from tigers, but in a world where the tigers are your inbox, your deadlines, and your own self-doubt. You're living in a state of chronic, low-grade emergency, and it's exhausting. It's keeping you from creating the reality you truly want. But what if I told you there's a part of you that is never hijacked? A part of you that is never caught in the storm? A part of you that is calm, still, and clear no matter what chaos is unfolding in your mind or your life? There is. This is the silent watcher, the observer self. I want you to imagine you are standing on the side of a busy highway. The cars and trucks are your thoughts, feelings, and sensations. Some are fast and aggressive, Those are your angry thoughts. Some are slow and heavy, your sad thoughts. Some are flashy and distracting, your fleeting desires. Some are just the steady hum of background mental chatter. For most of your life, you have believed you are one of those cars. You've been caught in the traffic, swerving, honking, accelerating, braking, convinced that you are the anger, you are the anxiety, you are the sadness. You've been living your entire life in the middle of the highway, desperately trying not to get run over. Becoming the silent watcher is the act of simply taking a few steps to the side of the road. It's the realization that you are not the traffic. You are the one who is aware of the traffic. You are the conscious, silent presence watching it all go by. The traffic might be chaotic. It might be noisy. It might even have a pileup now and then. But from the side of the road, you are safe. You are still. You can observe the chaos without being consumed by it. Here's another way to think about it. Your awareness is like the vast, open sky. Your thoughts, emotions, and moods are like the weather. Some days, the sky is filled with dark, stormy clouds. Other days, it's bright and clear. Sometimes there are gentle, passing clouds or a hazy fog. The weather is constantly changing, but the sky itself is never harmed by the weather. The sky doesn't become the storm. The sky is simply the space in which the storm happens. The storm passes, but the sky remains. You are the sky. You are not the weather. This isn't just a beautiful metaphor. This is a profound, operational truth about the nature of your consciousness. And it has a direct biological correlate in your brain. When you're trapped in the traffic, when you believe you are the storm, your amygdala is running the show. You're in reactive survival mode. The moment you step back and simply observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment, something incredible happens. You shift control. You activate your prefrontal cortex. Your prefrontal cortex is the most evolved part of your brain, located right behind your forehead. It's the CEO of your brain. It's responsible for higher-order thinking, rational decision-making, emotional regulation, self-awareness, and focus. It's the part of you that can think about your thinking. It's the neurological home of the silent watcher. When you are hijacked by an emotion, your prefrontal cortex effectively goes offline. The amygdala cuts the phone lines to the CEO's office and puts the whole company on lockdown. But when you consciously choose to take a breath and observe your state of mind, when you say to yourself, I am noticing the feeling of anger arising within me, you are literally bringing your prefrontal cortex back online. You are turning the lights back on in the CEO's office. And here's the most exciting part, the foundation upon which this entire book is built, the principle of neuroplasticity. Your brain is not a fixed, static organ. It is constantly changing, molding, and rewiring itself based on your experiences, your actions, and most importantly, your focus. Every time you practice stepping back and observing your thoughts instead of being swept away by them, you are physically strengthening the neural pathways between your prefrontal cortex and your amygdala. You are building a bigger, stronger, more robust neurological brake pedal for your emotional reactions. You are, in a very real sense, training your brain. Just like lifting weights builds muscle, the practice of observation builds a more mindful, resilient, and emotionally regulated brain. You are teaching your amygdala that you've got this. You're teaching it that not every stressful email is a tiger in the bushes. You're taking back control from the terrified security guard and handing it over to the wise and calm CEO. This is the ultimate act of empowerment. You are using your mind to change your brain, which in turn changes your experience of reality. You are no longer a victim of your own biology. You are its conscious architect. So, how do we do this? How do we practice this art in the heat of the moment, when the frame of emotion feels most solid and inescapable? It starts with a simple yet profoundly powerful technique. You can think of it as your emergency escape hatch from the hijacked mind. I call it the 4 steps to the sidelines. You can use it anywhere, anytime. The moment you feel that familiar charge of anger, fear, anxiety, or overwhelm, that is your cue. The first step is notice. This is the crucial moment of waking up. It's a tiny gap that you create in the unconscious reaction. Instead of just being angry, you have a flash of awareness that says, I am feeling anger right now. You have to catch it. In the beginning, you'll probably catch it late, after you've already snapped at someone or spiraled into worry. That's okay. Just the act of noticing it, even after the fact, is a victory. The more you practice, the sooner you'll catch the wave, until you can feel it building before it even crests. The second step is name. Put a label on the experience, but do it with a sense of gentle curiosity, as if you were a scientist observing a phenomenon. Don't say, I am angry. That creates identification. Instead, say to yourself, there is anger here, or this is what anxiety feels like in my body, or simply, worrying. This simple act of naming the emotion has been shown in neuroscience studies to immediately reduce activity in the amygdala and increase activity in the prefrontal cortex. By naming it, you are framing it as a temporary, observable event, not as the totality of who you are. You are separating yourself from the emotion. The third step is breathe. This is your biological reset button. Take 3 slow, deep, conscious breaths. Inhale deeply through your nose, feeling your belly expand, and exhale slowly through your mouth longer than your inhale. This simple action does something magical. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, also known as the rest and digest system. It is the direct antidote to the fight or flight response. It sends a powerful signal to your amygdala and your entire body that the threat has passed. You are safe. The cortisol flood begins to recede. 3 deep breaths are often all it takes to bring the CEO back online. And the fourth and final step is step back. This is a step of imagination and intention. After you notice, name, and breathe, I want you to literally visualize yourself taking 1 step back from the emotion. See the anger, the fear, the sadness as an object in front of you. A swirling ball of energy, a dark cloud, whatever image works for you. You are here and it is there. You are the observer, it is the observed. From this vantage point on the sidelines, you have space, you have perspective. You are no longer trapped inside the frame. You are looking at it. And from this place, you have a choice. You are no longer forced to react. You can choose how to respond. Notice, name, breathe, step back. This 4-step practice is your training ground. It is your mental gymnasium. At first, it will feel clumsy. You will forget to do it. You will get swept away by the emotion and only remember hours later. Do not judge yourself. That judgment is just more traffic on the highway. Simply notice that you forgot and commit to trying again next time. Every single attempt, no matter how successful, strengthens the muscle of your awareness. By becoming the silent watcher, you are not trying to get rid of your thoughts or emotions. You are not trying to create a blank mind. That's impossible. The mind's job is to think, just as the heart's job is to beat. The goal is not to stop the traffic. The goal is to get out of its way. The goal is to change your relationship with your inner world. To realize that your thoughts and feelings are not commands you must obey, but simply suggestions you can choose to entertain or ignore. They are clouds passing in the vast, peaceful sky of your being. This is the foundational skill of conscious creation. Before you can change your reality, you must first stop being a prisoner to your automatic reactions to your current reality. You must step outside the frame of what is to create the space for what can be. You must realize that you are not the painting, you are the consciousness observing it. And only from that place of observation can you pick up the brush. Practice this. Practice it with small annoyances. the person who cuts you off in traffic, the slow internet connection. Practice it with bigger feelings, the anxiety before a presentation, the sting of disappointment. Notice, name, breathe, step back. Make this your new automatic response to emotional triggers. Because when you master the art of becoming the silent watcher, you reclaim your power. You are no longer a ship tossed on the waves of your emotional states. You are the captain at the helm, with a steady hand, observing the weather and choosing your course with wisdom and intention. You have now learned how to step outside the frame. You've discovered the silent, powerful space between stimulus and response. In our next chapter, we will step into that space and begin the real work of the artist. We will learn how to actively erase the old limiting beliefs that have been painting your reality for years and prepare the canvas for a masterpiece. It's time for us to learn how to rewrite the code. What if the most powerful chains holding you back aren't made of steel, but of sentences? What if the most impenetrable prison you've ever known has walls built not of stone, but of stories you tell yourself every single day? In our last chapter, you learned to step outside the frame, to become the silent watcher of your own mind. You took the first monumental step from being a character in your life's play to becoming the audience. From that quiet, powerful vantage point, you began to see the frantic, repetitive thoughts that run across the stage of your consciousness. Now we move from observation to intervention, because watching the play is one thing, rewriting the script is another. This is where the real work, the revolutionary work, begins. This is where you pick up the pen and become the author of your reality. Welcome to Chapter 5, Rewriting the Code, Deleting Your Limiting Beliefs. Let's be clear about what we're dealing with. A limiting belief isn't just a passing negative thought. It's not just a moment of self-doubt. A limiting belief is a piece of code. It's a core program installed deep in your subconscious operating system, often without your consent, that runs automatically in the background of your life. It's a single line of instruction that dictates how you perceive the world, what you believe is possible for you, and how you respond to every opportunity and every challenge. Think of your mind as the most sophisticated supercomputer ever created. When you were born, it was a clean slate, a machine of infinite potential. But over time, data was uploaded. Your parents, your teachers, your friends, your first boss, that person who broke your heart, they all had access, and they all installed programs. Society itself uploaded gigabytes of cultural conditioning. Money is hard to come by. You have to work tirelessly to be worthy. Don't get your hopes up. People like us don't get to do things like that. Some of this code was helpful, even protective. Look both ways before you cross the street. That's a good program. But much of it was based on their fears, their limitations, their reality. And the most powerful programs of all were the ones you wrote yourself, based on painful experiences. A failure in business becomes the code, "I'm not cut out for success." A difficult breakup becomes, "I'm unlovable." A moment of embarrassment in school becomes, "I'm not smart enough." And here's the problem. This code doesn't just sit there, it actively runs your life. It functions as a filter, coloring every single perception. If you have the code "I'm not good enough" running in the background, you could receive a major promotion at work, and your mind will filter that success through the code, interpreting it as, "It was a fluke. They're going to find out I'm a fraud any day now." You will literally be unable to experience the reality of your own achievement. The code won't allow it. It will find evidence to support its own premise, ignoring all evidence to the contrary. It's a self-validating loop of limitation. This isn't your fault. This is biology. Your brain, for all its majesty, is fundamentally a survival machine. It's designed with what neuroscientists call a negativity bias. Think of your ancient ancestors on the savannah. The one who spent all day admiring the beautiful flowers but missed the rustle in the grass? Well, he didn't pass on his genes. The one who was constantly scanning for threats, who remembered every place a predator might be hiding, who learned from one negative experience and never forgot it, she survived. Your brain is her direct descendant. It is hardwired to give more weight, more attention, and more memory space to negative experiences than to positive ones. It's like Velcro for bad experiences and Teflon for good ones. So when you form a limiting belief, especially one born from pain or fear, your brain latches onto it. It flags it as a crucial piece of survival data. Remember this, it says, so you don't get hurt again. That code, I'm not good enough, I'll always be alone, I can't trust anyone, isn't just a belief, it's a deeply embedded survival strategy. An obsolete one. Let's look at the mechanics inside your head. You have the prefrontal cortex, the sophisticated, rational, conscious part of your brain. This is your inner CEO, the part of you that's listening to me right now that can plan, reason, and dream. But you also have the amygdala, a small, almond-shaped part of the limbic system. This is your primitive guard dog. It's your internal alarm system, constantly scanning for threats. When a limiting belief is triggered, it's the amygdala that sounds the alarm. You're about to give a presentation, and the code "I'm a fraud" starts running. Your amygdala doesn't know the difference between a skeptical audience and a saber-toothed tiger. It just senses a threat to your safety, in this case, your social standing. So it does what it's designed to do. It floods your system with cortisol, the stress hormone. Your heart pounds, your palms sweat, your throat tightens. This is the fight or flight response. And here's the crucial part. When that cortisol floods your system, it effectively short-circuits your prefrontal cortex. It hijacks your rational mind. You can't think clearly, you can't access your creativity, you can't connect with your authentic self. The guard dog has locked the CEO out of the boardroom. The old, limiting code takes over completely, proving itself right. You stumble through the presentation, confirming your belief that you are, indeed, a fraud. The program has run successfully. See how insidious this is? Your limiting beliefs don't just describe your reality, they actively create it on a physiological, chemical level. They are self-fulfilling prophecies powered by ancient biology. For years, you've been living inside this programming. You've felt the frustration of knowing you're capable of more, but feeling stuck, held back by an invisible force. You've slammed into the same glass ceilings again and again, wondering why you can't break through. You have been living in a prison with a door that has been unlocked the entire time. Because that invisible force, that glass ceiling, is nothing more than old code. And you are the programmer. This is the moment everything changes, because I'm here to tell you that your brain is not fixed. It is not hardwired hardware. It is malleable, rewritable software. The scientific principle that will set you free is called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is, quite simply, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. Every time you learn something new, a language, a song, a skill, you are physically changing the structure of your brain. You are creating and strengthening new pathways between your neurons. Imagine your brain is a dense, untamed forest. Your limiting beliefs are the well-worn, deeply rutted paths that you've walked every day for years. The path for "I'm not worthy" is a 6-lane highway. It's automatic. It requires no conscious effort to walk down it. Your brain, being efficient, will always choose the path of least resistance. But neuroplasticity means you have a machete. It means you can choose to stop walking down that highway and begin, step by painstaking step, to forge a new path through the forest. A path called "I am infinitely worthy." At first, this new path is difficult. It's overgrown. You have to push through branches and stumble over roots. It takes conscious effort and immense energy. Meanwhile, the old highway is right there, beckoning you with its ease and familiarity. This is why change is so hard. But every time you consciously choose to think the new thought, to walk the new path, you clear it a little more. You stomp down the undergrowth. You make it a little wider, a little smoother. And every time you refuse to go down the old highway, it begins to get overgrown. Weeds start to creep in. The pavement cracks. The scientific mantra for this is neurons that fire together, wire together, and neurons that fire apart, wire apart. You are going to systematically weaken the neural networks of your old limitations and build, strengthen, and myelinate the superhighways of your new, empowered reality. So, how do we do it? How do we become the active programmer, the conscious neurosculptor of our own mind? We use a simple three-step process. I call it the deletion protocol. The 3 steps are identify, deconstruct, and replace. Step 1. Identify and isolate the code. This is where the work you did in Chapter 4 becomes your superpower. You cannot change a program you don't know is running. As the silent watcher, your first job is to become a code hunter. For the next 7 days, I want you to carry a notebook or use an app on your phone, and your sole mission is to catch your limiting beliefs in the act. When you feel that familiar pang of anxiety, that clenching in your stomach, that sudden wave of inadequacy, pause. Become the watcher. Ask, what story am I telling myself right now? What code just got triggered? Maybe you're scrolling through social media and see someone's vacation photos. The feeling is envy and sadness. Pause. What's the code? Is it, everyone else's life is better than mine? Or, I'll never be able to afford a life like that? Write it down, verbatim. Isolate the exact line of code. Maybe your boss gives you some constructive feedback. The feeling is defensiveness and shame. Pause. What's the code? I can't do anything right. I'm a failure. Write it down. You have to see it to change it. Drag these shadow programs out from the dark of your subconscious into the light of your conscious awareness. Don't judge them. Don't blame yourself for them. Just observe them and label them, like a biologist discovering a new species. Ah, there it is, the I'm too old to start something new virus. Interesting, the I don't deserve to be happy malware just tried to run. This act of identifying and naming the belief is profoundly powerful. It separates you, the observer, from the belief itself. It's not you. It's a piece of code, and code can be deleted. Step 2. Deconstruct the code. Once you've identified a line of code, you put it on trial. You become a compassionate but ruthless detective, questioning its validity. The goal here is to use your prefrontal cortex, your inner CEO, to dismantle the irrational, fear-based logic of the amygdala. Ask these 4 questions of every limiting belief you identify. 1. Is this belief 100% absolutely, factually true? Let's take the code, I'm not good enough. Is that absolutely true? Have you never been good enough at anything in your entire life? Not once? Haven't you ever made a friend laugh, or cooked a decent meal, or learned a new skill, or shown kindness to someone? The moment you find a single piece of evidence to the contrary, the absolute truth of the statement collapses. 2. Where did this code originally come from? Trace it back. Did a parent say it to you? A teacher? Did you internalize it after a specific failure? By understanding the origin of the code, you realize it's not a fundamental truth about you. It's a second-hand opinion or a scar from a single event that you've allowed to define your entire existence. It's an old file from a corrupted source. 3. What has this belief cost me? This is where you agitate the problem to create leverage for change. What has the code "I'm not smart enough" cost you? Did it stop you from applying for that degree? From speaking up in meetings? From starting your own business? Get specific. Feel the weight of the lost opportunities, the silenced dreams, the dimmed potential. Let the pain of staying the same become greater than the fear of changing. 4. Who would I be without this belief? Close your eyes and genuinely imagine this. If that line of code was magically erased from your mind tonight while you slept, who would you wake up as tomorrow? What would you do? What risks would you take? What would you create? How would you walk, talk, and interact with the world? Get a clear, visceral feeling of this version of you. This person is not a fantasy. This is the real you, buried under decades of faulty programming. This is the person you are about to become. Step 3. Replace and reinforce. You cannot simply delete a line of code and leave a vacuum. Your brain abhors a void. You must replace the old limiting belief with a new empowering one, and then you must reinforce it relentlessly until its neural pathway is the new superhighway. This is not about lying to yourself. It's not about looking in the mirror and saying, "I am a millionaire," when your bank account is empty. Your brain is too smart for that. It will reject the cognitive dissonance. The new code must be believable and resonant. So, if your old code was, "I'm not good enough," a powerful replacement might be, "I am a work in progress, and I am learning and growing every day." If the old code was, "I'll never find love," the new code could be, "I am open and ready to attract a healthy, loving partnership." Or, "I am worthy and deserving of love right now, exactly as I am." Choose a statement that feels expansive and true on some level, even if it's just a sliver of truth for now. Once you have your new line of code, your new belief, your job is to rehearse it until it becomes your automatic reality. This is the work. This is the forging of the new path in the forest. How do you do this? First, through repetition. Write your new belief down. Put it on your bathroom mirror, on your computer monitor, as the lock screen on your phone. Read it aloud with conviction every morning and every night. The brain learns through repetition. You are literally instructing your neurons to fire together so they will wire together. Second, through evidence gathering. Just as your old code constantly scanned for evidence to prove itself right, you must now task your brain with a new mission: find evidence to support your new belief. If your new belief is, "I am becoming more confident," your job all day is to look for tiny moments of confidence. Did you speak up in a meeting? Note it down. Did you make eye contact with a stranger? Acknowledge it. Did you try something new? Celebrate it. You are training your brain to filter reality in a new, empowering way. Finally, you must act as if. You must embody the person who already holds this new belief. Remember the person you imagined you would be without the old limitation? Start being them, now. Take one small action that person would take. If your old belief was, "I'm not creative," and your new belief is, "My creativity is a muscle I am developing," your action is to go buy a sketchbook and draw for 5 minutes. It doesn't matter if it's good. The act itself is a vote for the new reality. It sends a powerful signal to your subconscious. This is who we are now. Identify, deconstruct, replace. This is the deletion protocol. It is your key to unlocking the prison. It is your administrative access to your own source code. This work isn't easy, and it isn't a one-time fix. Those old neural pathways are deep. At first, you will have to be hyper-vigilant. The old code will try to run again and again, out of sheer habit. But do not be discouraged. Every time you catch it, every time you challenge it, every time you consciously choose the new path, you weaken the old one and strengthen the new one. You are a sculptor, and with every conscious thought, you are chipping away the marble of your old limitations to reveal the masterpiece that has been waiting within you all along. Your assignment, starting right now, is to become a code hunter. Find one limiting belief that has been running your life. Just one. Put it through the 3 steps. Identify it, deconstruct it on paper, and create its powerful replacement. This is the most important work you will ever do, because the stories you tell yourself are the architects of your destiny. It is time to stop reading from a script of limitation and fear and start writing a new masterpiece of possibility, power, and freedom. The pen is in your hand. Let's begin. If your attention was a currency, the most valuable currency in the universe, how have you been spending it? Have you been investing it, consciously placing it on the outcomes, the feelings, and the realities you want to build? Or have you been letting it leak away, stolen by cheap distractions, old fears, and the endless, scrolling noise of the outside world? Welcome back to the observer effect. In our last chapter, we did the crucial work of identifying and deleting our limiting beliefs, the faulty code running in the background of our lives. But deleting the old program is only half the battle. Now we have to write the new one. We have to learn how to consciously direct our creative power. And that brings us to the single most important operational skill you will ever develop as a conscious creator. It's the subject of this chapter, the spotlight of intention. I want you to imagine your attention is a powerful, cinematic spotlight. It's sitting in the center of the vast, dark theater of your mind. In this theater, there are countless stages. On one stage, a drama of your past mistakes is playing on a loop. On another, a horror film of your future anxieties is having its premiere. There's a stage for your insecurities, a stage for other people's opinions, a stage for the 24-hour news cycle of outrage. And somewhere, perhaps in a dusty corner, is a small, quiet stage where the vision of your most desired future is waiting. Now, here's the universal law, the one that governs this entire inner world. Whichever stage your spotlight illuminates, that is the one that receives all the power. That is the one that grows. That is the one whose script begins to manifest in your outer world. Where attention goes, energy flows. It's not a catchy phrase, it is a fundamental principle of creation. The problem for most of us is that we are not in control of our own spotlight. For years, maybe for our entire lives, we've let an untrained, panicked stagehand run the show. The spotlight darts around erratically. It flickers with every passing distraction. It gets stuck on the horror movies, on the dramas, on the tragedies, because they are loud, they are dramatic, and they are, frankly, addicting. We sit in the audience of our own minds, watching a show we hate, forgetting that we are the ones who hold the power to move the light. Why does this happen? Why is our default setting so negative? This isn't a personal failing. It's a biological feature, not a bug. Your brain, specifically the ancient primitive part of it, is not designed for your happiness or your success. It is designed for one thing and one thing only, your survival. This is a concept in neuroscience called the negativity bias. Your ancestors who survived weren't the ones sitting around smelling the flowers. They were the ones who were hyper-vigilant to the rustle in the grass that might be a saber-toothed tiger. Their brains became incredibly efficient at scanning for threats, problems, and dangers. Your brain has inherited this exact same operating system. It is like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. You can receive 10 compliments and 1 criticism. And which one will you be thinking about as you try to fall asleep? The criticism, of course. Your brain flags it, magnifies it, and puts it center stage under that powerful spotlight because on some primal level, it thinks that criticism is a threat to your social standing and therefore to your survival. When your spotlight of attention is locked onto a problem, a financial worry, a relationship conflict, a health concern, it sends a powerful signal to your body. Your amygdala, the brain's little alarm system, starts screaming, "Threat, threat." In response, your body is flooded with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Now, in short bursts, this is a lifesaver. It's what helps you slam on the brakes to avoid an accident. But when your attention is chronically fixed on what's wrong, you are marinating your system in these hormones 24/7. Chronic cortisol fogs your thinking. It weakens your immune system. It stores fat. It disrupts your sleep. It literally keeps your body in a state of emergency, a state of survival. And here's the most important part. When you are in survival mode, you cannot be in creation mode. They are mutually exclusive. In survival, you are focused on not losing. In creation, you are focused on winning. In survival, you are trying to get away from the past. In creation, you are actively building a new future. So you see the trap. Your brain's default negativity bias keeps your attention locked on problems. This constant focus triggers a biological stress response, flooding you with cortisol. This state of survival makes it nearly impossible to think creatively, feel expansive, or focus on a new possibility. And so, because your energy is flowing to the problem persists. You are quite literally using the immense power of your observation to sustain the very reality you are desperate to change. You are keeping the spotlight fixed on the horror movie and wondering why your life feels so scary. But what if I told you that you have, right now, within your own skull, the biological hardware to override this ancient fear-based system? What if I told you that you could become the master lighting director of your own mind? This is where we pivot from the problem to the solution. This is where you take your power back. The opposite of the reactive, primitive amygdala is your prefrontal cortex. This is the most evolved part of your brain, located right behind your forehead. Think of it as the CEO, the director, the conscious conductor of the orchestra. It's the part of you that can set goals, make conscious choices, and most importantly, direct your attention. The entire practice of becoming a conscious creator is the practice of strengthening your prefrontal cortex and teaching it to be the boss of your reactive amygdala. It's the shift from being the panicked stagehand to being the calm, deliberate director in the control booth. The tool that allows you to do this is called intention. Attention is the beam of light. Intention is the conscious hand that aims it. Attention without intention is scattered, wasted energy. It's a floodlight illuminating the whole chaotic theater at once. But attention with intention is a laser. It is focused, coherent, and powerful enough to cut through steel. When you set an intention, you are giving your brain a command. You are telling your prefrontal cortex, this is what matters. Ignore the other dramas, disregard the anxieties, place the spotlight here. And here is where the magic, which is really just science we don't fully understand yet, begins to happen. Every time you consciously redirect your attention from a fear to a desire, from a problem to a possibility, from a past grievance to a future vision, you are physically rewiring your brain. This is the power of neuroplasticity, which we've touched on before. The old saying in neuroscience is, neurons that fire together wire together. When you constantly worry about money, you are strengthening the neural pathways of lack. The connection becomes a superhighway. The thought becomes easier and more automatic. But when you consciously, intentionally turn your spotlight onto feelings of abundance, onto gratitude for what you have, onto the creative ideas for generating more wealth, you begin to build a new neural pathway. At first, it's like hacking a tiny trail in a dense jungle. It's difficult. It takes effort. Your brain will want to default back to the old familiar superhighway of worry. But you do it again and again. You place your attention on abundance every single day. That little trail becomes a path. The path becomes a road. And eventually, it becomes the new superhighway. And the old highway of lack through disuse begins to wither and fade away. You are not fighting your brain. You are retraining it. You are giving it a new job. Instead of being a threat detection system, you are upgrading it to be an opportunity-seeking system. You are teaching it to scan the world not for what could go wrong, but for what could go right. You are using the power of your intentional focus to build a brain that is literally wired for the reality you desire. So, how do we do this? How do we move from theory to practice? I'm going to give you 3 powerful, practical techniques to seize control of your spotlight starting today. The first technique is the morning briefing. No CEO would start their day without briefing their team. You are the CEO of your life, and your brain is your team. Don't just stumble out of bed and let the world hijack your spotlight with emails, news alerts, and social media feeds. That's letting the panicked stagehand take over before you're even fully awake. Instead, take the first 5 minutes of your day before you touch your phone and give your brain its marching orders. Sit down, close your eyes, and ask yourself this simple, powerful question. Where do I choose to place my energy today? This is your act of intention. Be specific. Don't just say, I want to have a good day. That's too vague. Command your spotlight. You might say, "Today, my spotlight is on solutions. In that difficult meeting, I will focus only on finding a collaborative solution." Or, "Today, my spotlight is on gratitude. I will actively look for and appreciate the small moments of beauty and kindness around me." Or, perhaps, "Today, my spotlight is on my physical energy. I will focus on nourishing my body and moving it with joy." By doing this, you are setting your GPS for the day. You are priming your brain. You are telling your vast subconscious mind what to look for. You are turning on what's known as the reticular activating system, or RAS, a network of neurons in your brainstem that acts as a filter for information. When you decide what's important, your RAS literally starts filtering reality to show you more of it. It's why when you decide you want to buy a red car, you suddenly start seeing red cars everywhere. They were always there, but your intention made them relevant. Give your brain a clear, positive target in the morning, and it will work for you all day long to find it. The second technique is what I call the pattern interrupt. Throughout the day, your old programming will try to snatch the spotlight back. A stressful memory will pop up. A fear about the future will surface. You'll find yourself spiraling into a negative thought loop. In that moment, you have a choice. You can let the old stagehand drag the spotlight back to the horror show, or you can, as the director, intervene. The pattern interrupt is a simple three-step process. ACT. Acknowledge, choose, turn. First, acknowledge. Notice the negative thought or feeling without judgment. This is the art of becoming the silent watcher that we talked about in Chapter 4. Don't fight it, don't resist it, just observe it. There's that old story that I'm not good enough. Or, I see you, fear of failure. By simply acknowledging it, you separate yourself from it. It's not you, it's a thought pattern playing on one of the stages. Second, choose. This is a declaration of power. Make a conscious choice, out loud if you need to. Thank you for trying to protect me, but I am no longer giving this my energy. I choose a different focus. This is you, the CEO, stepping in and making an executive decision. You are reclaiming your authority over your own mind. Third, turn. This is the physical action. Literally, turn your attention to something else. Turn the spotlight. This is where your morning briefing comes in handy. You can turn your focus back to your intention for the day. If your intention was gratitude, find something in your immediate environment to be grateful for. The feeling of the chair supporting you, the taste of your coffee, the sunlight coming through the window. The more physical and sensory you can make it, the better. You are using your prefrontal cortex to override the amygdala's alarm. You are changing the channel deliberately. Acknowledge, choose, turn. It's a mental martial art, and the more you practice it, the stronger and faster you become. The third and final technique is the evidence log. Your brain's negativity bias will fight you. It will say, "See, this isn't working. Nothing's changing." Your job is to prove it wrong. You must become a diligent collector of evidence that your new focus is creating a new reality. At the end of each day, take a journal or a notebook, I call it the evidence log, and write down at least 3 pieces of evidence, no matter how small, that aligned with your intention. If your intention was to focus on solutions, write down the moment you reframed a problem as a question. If your intention was to focus on abundance, write down the compliment you received, the friend who bought you a coffee, or the $10 you found in an old coat pocket. This is not just positive thinking. This is targeted neurological reinforcement. You are training your brain to see what you want it to see. You are creating a feedback loop of success. By logging the evidence, you are telling your subconscious mind, "Pay attention, this is important, we are getting results." This practice directly counters the negativity bias. You are deliberately putting the positive experiences under the spotlight, forcing your brain to acknowledge them, and in doing so, you are wiring yourself to expect and create more of them. The morning briefing sets your course. The pattern interrupt keeps you on course. And the evidence log proves you are moving in the right direction. These are not one-time fixes. They are daily practices. This is the work of a conscious creator. It is the training you undertake to become the master of your own mind. Your life, right now, is a direct reflection of where your spotlight has been focused. If you don't like what you see, the answer isn't to curse the stage. The answer is to move the light. Your power is not in the circumstances, it is in your focus. Your freedom is not in changing the world, it is in changing what you choose to illuminate. Where attention goes, energy flows. This is the key that unlocks everything. It is the bridge between the inner world of thought and the outer world of experience. You have deleted the old code. Now you have the tools to direct your energy and write the new one, moment by moment, choice by choice. You are the director. You are the one in the control booth. The spotlight is yours. So, take a deep breath. Feel that power. You now know how to aim the spotlight of your intention. You know how to focus your energy with precision. But focus is only one part of the creative equation. What happens when you combine that focused intention with the most powerful energy amplifier in the universe? In our next chapter, we're going to learn how to turn that beam of light into a supercharged laser. We're going to plug your intention into the source of all creative power. We're going to talk about the heart's frequency and how to amplify your signal with emotion. Have you ever poured all your focus into a goal, set a powerful, crystal-clear intention, only to feel it land with a thud? A silent, powerless wish in a vast, indifferent universe? You did the work we talked about in the last chapter. You aimed the spotlight of your intention with precision, but nothing happened. Why? What was missing? If your intention is the arrow, what exactly is the bowstring that sends it flying? In our journey so far, we've learned to become the observer, to step out of the autopilot programs and to aim our focus like a laser beam. We've treated intention as a mental exercise, a function of the focused mind. And it is. But a thought on its own is just a whisper. It's a blueprint without a construction crew. It's a radio signal with the power turned down so low that all you can hear is static. The problem is, we've been taught to separate our thinking from our feeling. We've been told to be rational, to keep emotions out of our decisions, to think with our heads and not with our hearts. We treat our emotions as messy, unpredictable liabilities, something to be managed, suppressed, or overcome. But what if I told you that this separation is the very thing holding you back? What if emotion isn't the static interfering with your signal, but the very energy source that gives it power? This is the missing piece of the creative puzzle. A thought, an intention, is just electrical potential in the brain. But an emotion is a magnetic charge. When you combine a clear intention, the electric charge, with a powerful elevated emotion, the magnetic charge, you create an electromagnetic field. You create a broadcast, a signal that leaves your body and interacts with the quantum field. You are no longer just thinking about a future reality. You are signaling it, calling it to you, vibrating in harmony with it. So why is this so hard? Why do our signals so often seem to be broadcasting worry, fear, and lack, even when we're trying with all our might to focus on abundance and joy? Let's agitate this a little, because understanding the problem is the first step to solving it permanently. The answer, as always, lies in our biology. For hundreds of thousands of years, your brain and body were not designed for creation, abundance, and bliss. They were designed for one thing and one thing only: survival. Deep inside your brain is a little almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. Think of it as your body's ancient smoke detector. Its job is to scan the environment, both internal and external, for danger. When it senses a threat, real or imagined, it hits the panic button. This triggers a cascade of chemical reactions. Your adrenal glands flood your system with cortisol and adrenaline, the hormones of stress. Your heart rate increases, your breathing becomes shallow, your muscles tense. Your prefrontal cortex, the logical, creative, conscious part of your brain, starts to go offline as all energy is diverted to the primitive fight or flight response. Your body is preparing to run from a tiger. The problem is, in our modern world, the tiger is an overdue bill, an angry email from your boss, a traffic jam, or even just a worried thought about the future. Your body doesn't know the difference. The stress response is the same. And here's the critical part. The emotions that accompany this state, fear, anxiety, anger, frustration, guilt, shame, are incredibly powerful. They have to be. They're designed to get your immediate, undivided attention, to keep you alive. This creates what scientists call a negativity bias. Your brain is like Velcro for bad experiences and Teflon for good ones. You can have 100 wonderful things happen in a day, but you will ruminate on the one negative comment, the one moment of frustration. Why? Because from a survival standpoint, it was more important to remember where the tiger lived than where the sweet berries grew. Forgetting the tiger could get you killed. Forgetting the berries just meant you went hungry for a day. So here you are, a magnificent conscious creator, trapped in a biological machine that is expertly, brilliantly, and automatically wired to feel negative emotions. You spend your days unconsciously practicing feelings of lack, worry, and stress. You become an Olympic-level athlete in the sport of anxiety. Your body is so used to the chemical cocktail of cortisol that it can actually become addicted to it. When things are calm, you might even find yourself subconsciously seeking out drama or conflict just to get that familiar chemical hit. When you live in this state, what kind of signal do you think you're broadcasting? You can sit and repeat affirmations of wealth all day long, but if your body is vibrating with the feeling of lack, if your heart is pumping out the frequency of fear, what message do you think the universe is receiving? The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your energy. It responds to the signal you are broadcasting. And the emotional frequency generated by your heart is thousands of times more powerful, more magnetic than the electrical thoughts generated by your brain. You're whispering, "I am abundant," with your mind, while screaming, "I am scared and in lack," with your entire body. Which signal do you think wins? This is the autopilot trap in its most insidious form. You're trying to create a new future, but you're still feeling the emotions of your past. And as long as you are feeling the emotions of your past, you are destined to recreate it over and over again. You are observing your reality through the lens of stress, and so you are creating more reasons to be stressed. But what if you could change that? What if you could use this same biological system not for survival, but for creation? This is the moment we pivot. This is the solution. The very system that has been keeping you stuck is the key to your liberation. Your heart, the epicenter of your emotional world, is not just a pump, it's an amplifier. It is the most powerful broadcasting tower you possess. It's time to learn how to use it. It's time to learn how to generate the heart's frequency. The goal is to stop living in the past and start emotionally inhabiting your future. The key is to teach your body on a chemical and cellular level what your future feels like. You must generate the elevated emotions of your desired reality, gratitude, joy, freedom, abundance, love, before it happens. When you do this, you are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of them. You're not waiting for an external event to make you feel good. You are generating the feeling from within, and that feeling becomes the magnetic force that draws the event to you. So how do we do this, practically? How do we overcome a lifetime of biological conditioning and become masters of our emotional state? It comes down to a practice I call emotional rehearsal. It's a two-step process. First, you need the clarity of mind, the intention we worked on in Chapter 6. Second, you need the energy of the heart, the emotion we are focusing on now. Mind and heart, thought and feeling, blueprint and power source. Here's your first exercise in emotional rehearsal. I want you to find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed for 10 minutes. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths, signaling to your body that it is safe. Now, bring to mind one specific goal you have, one clear intention for your future. Maybe it's a new career, a loving relationship, a healthy and vibrant body, a sense of financial freedom. See it in your mind's eye. Don't just see it as a static picture. Make it a movie. What are you doing in this new reality? Who is with you? What do you see? What do you hear? This is what most people call visualization, and it's a good start. But now we're going to plug in the amplifier. We are going to add the heart's frequency. I want you to ask yourself a powerful question. How will I feel when this is my reality? Don't just think the word. I want you to generate the feeling in your body right now. If your goal is financial freedom, what does that feel like? Is it a sense of profound relief washing over you? A feeling of lightness in your chest as if a great weight has been lifted? Is it a feeling of expansive possibility, of excitement for the future? Breathe that feeling in. Let your body marinate in the sensation of relief, of freedom. If your goal is a loving relationship, what does that feel like? Is it the warmth of connection spreading through your heart? Is it the feeling of safety, of being seen and understood? Is it the exhilarating joy of shared laughter? Don't just imagine it, feel it. Generate the chemistry of love in your body right now, without needing another person to be there. Feel the gratitude for this person who is already on their way to you. If your goal is a healthy, vibrant body, what does that feel like? Is it the surge of energy coursing through your limbs? The pride of looking in the mirror and feeling strong? The freedom of moving without pain? The sheer joy of being alive and vital? Inhabit that feeling. Let every cell in your body vibrate with the frequency of health and vitality. Do you feel the shift? When you do this, you are performing a radical act of creation. You are taking your body out of the familiar past, out of its addiction to cortisol, and plunging it into the chemical and emotional reality of the future. Your brain, which cannot tell the difference between a real experience and one that is vividly imagined with emotion, starts to lay down new neural pathways. This is neuroplasticity in action. You are literally rewiring your brain to believe this new reality is already here. Your cells, which have receptors for these chemicals, begin to change. You are becoming, on a biological level, the person you want to be. You are no longer sending a weak, static-filled signal. You are now broadcasting a powerful, coherent, high-frequency electromagnetic signature into the quantum field. You are showing the universe exactly what you want, not just with your thoughts, but with your entire being. Your state of being is your message. Now, let's talk about the ultimate amplifier for your signal. There is one emotion that, more than any other, can short-circuit the brain's negativity bias and tune you directly to the frequency of creation. That emotion is gratitude. Most people think of gratitude as a response. Something good happens, so you feel grateful. But this is the old model of reality, the cause and effect model, where you are waiting for the outside world to change how you feel on the inside. As a conscious creator, you must flip this script. Gratitude is not a response, it is a creative force. When you feel genuine gratitude, you are sending the loudest possible signal to the universe that you already have what you want. Gratitude implies receiving. You cannot be truly grateful for something you feel you lack. So when you cultivate the feeling of gratitude before your manifestation arrives, you are collapsing time and space. You are telling your brain, your body, and the quantum field that your future is already a present reality. This practice rewires your brain on a fundamental level. Gratitude shuts down the amygdala's fear response. It boosts serotonin and dopamine, the neurotransmitters of well-being and motivation. It signals to your nervous system that you are safe, you are provided for, and all is well. From this state of wholeness, you don't create from a place of desperate lack. You create from a place of joyful abundance. So here is your second practice. Every single day, I want you to create a gratitude amplifier moment. It can be in the morning before you get out of bed or at night before you fall asleep. Don't just mentally list 3 things you're grateful for. That's a good start, but we're going deeper. I want you to pick one thing. It could be the comfort of your bed, the taste of your morning coffee, the sound of a loved one's voice, or even just the simple miracle of your own breath. Now, close your eyes and bring all of your attention to the feeling of gratitude for that one thing. Don't just think it, feel it in your chest. Let it expand. Let it become a warm, glowing energy that fills your entire body. Stay with that feeling for at least 60 seconds. Let it be the dominant emotional state of your being. By practicing this, you are training your body to be in a state of reception. You are tuning your personal broadcast to the frequency of abundance. When you can feel overwhelming gratitude for what you already have, you become a magnet for more things to be grateful for. The universe doesn't have a choice but to send you more experiences that match the signal you are sending out. This is the work. It's moving from thinking to feeling, from mind to body, from intention to energy. It's the marriage of the conscious thought from your brain with the profound magnetic energy of your heart. When your thoughts and feelings are aligned, when you are thinking about your future and feeling the emotions of it simultaneously, you achieve what is called heart-brain coherence. Your internal system is no longer in conflict. The whisper from your mind and the broadcast from your heart are sending the exact same powerful, coherent signal. There is no static. There is no interference. There is only a clear, resonant frequency broadcasting the signature of your future self into the field of infinite possibility. So, I ask you again, what was missing from your intention? It was the power, the fuel, the magnetic charge. It was the feeling. Your heart is not just an organ, it's the engine of creation. Your emotions are not a liability, they are your greatest asset. They are the language that the universe understands. Stop just thinking about the life you want. It's time to start feeling it into existence. Tune your instrument, amplify your signal, and get ready to watch as the world rearranges itself to match the music you are broadcasting. Because once you've aligned your internal signal, the next step is to begin walking in the world as this new person, to take actions that are in harmony with your new state of being. And that is exactly where we are headed in Chapter 8. You've drawn the blueprint. You felt the feeling of living in the finished house. But what happens when you're standing on the empty plot of land with the tools in your hand and you refuse to break ground? Welcome back to the observer effect. In our last chapter, we tuned our entire being to the heart's frequency. We learned how to take a pure, clear intention and amplify it with the raw, undeniable power of elevated emotion. You felt it, didn't you? That spark, that hum of potential, the resonant feeling of your future self calling to you from across the quantum field. You've become a powerful broadcasting tower, sending a clear signal out into the universe. But now we arrive at the most misunderstood, the most feared, and the most absolutely critical step in this entire process. We've done the internal work. Now we must face the external world. Because a signal, no matter how powerful, is just energy until it is grounded. A blueprint is just paper until the first nail is hammered. And a new reality is just a daydream until you take the first terrifying, glorious step into it. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where the observer becomes the participant. It's time to talk about action. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Wait a minute. I thought this was about changing my mind to change reality. I thought the work was internal. Are you telling me I still have to do things? Yes, 1,000 times yes, but not in the way you think. We're not talking about hustling, grinding, and forcing things into existence through sheer brute effort. That's the old paradigm, the Newtonian model of cause and effect that leaves you exhausted and burnt out. The kind of action we're talking about is different. It's elegant. It's intentional. It is the physical expression of a choice you have already made internally. Every action you take is a vote you cast for the future you want to inhabit. So, let's diagnose the problem. Why is this step so difficult? Why do so many people have profound insights, incredible meditations, and feel completely lit up with possibility, only to wake up the next day and do the exact same things they did yesterday? This is the action paradox, the gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it. And to understand it, we have to look under the hood at the biological hardware you're running. Your brain has a primary directive that overrides almost everything else: keep you alive. Survival is job number one. And to your ancient biological self, survival means one thing above all else: predictability. The familiar is safe. The unknown is dangerous. The brain you have today is the finely tuned result of millions of years of evolution designed to keep your ancestors safe from predators on the savannah. It is not, by default, designed to help you launch a podcast or ask for a promotion. The part of your brain in charge of this safety protocol is a little almond-shaped set of neurons called the amygdala. Think of it as your own personal hypervigilant bodyguard. When you think about taking a new action, quitting the job you hate, starting a conversation with a stranger, posting your art online for the first time, your bodyguard doesn't see an opportunity for growth. It sees a saber-toothed tiger lurking in the bushes. Immediately, it hits the panic button. It floods your system with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate increases, your palms get sweaty, your thoughts start to race. This is the classic fight or flight response. But in our modern world, we usually don't fight or flee. We freeze, we hesitate, we retreat back to the safety of the familiar, even if the familiar is making us miserable. Your bodyguard, the amygdala, has successfully protected you from the perceived threat. It breathes a sigh of relief as you close the laptop, put the phone down, and go back to scrolling through social media or watching another episode of that show you've already seen. Safety has been restored. The tiger has been avoided. Compounding this is another feature of your survival software, the negativity bias. Your brain is not wired to see the world objectively. It's wired to scan for threats. It's like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. For every one thing that could go right, your brain will present you with 10 things that could go wrong. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I lose everything? What if I'm not good enough? This isn't a personal flaw. It's a biological feature. Your brain isn't trying to sabotage you. It's trying to protect you based on an outdated definition of danger. It's using a Stone Age operating system to navigate a digital world. So here's the agitation. You are caught in a biological feedback loop. You have a new intention. You generate the elevated emotion. You feel ready to change. But the moment you contemplate the action required, your internal bodyguard tackles you to the ground, screaming about all the potential dangers. The cortisol floods your system. Your prefrontal cortex, the logical, creative CEO part of your brain, goes offline, and you're left feeling anxious and overwhelmed. So you retreat. And in that retreat, you send a powerful message back to your brain and body. See, the old way is safer. The old identity is the correct one. You have just cast a vote through your inaction for your past to remain your future. It's a perfect prison, a cage built of your own biology. But what if I told you there's a key? What if I told you that you could thank your bodyguard for its service and then politely ask it to step aside? This is the solution. This is where we pivot from being a victim of our biology to being the architect of it. We are going to consciously and deliberately use action to rewire the very hardware we're running on. We are going to walk the new world into existence. The core principle is this: every time you take a small physical action that is in alignment with your desired future, you are casting a vote for that future. You are providing your brain with new evidence. You are, quite literally, building a new road in your mind. This is the science of neuroplasticity, which we've touched on before. Your brain is not a fixed, static object. It is a dynamic, living landscape of over 80 billion neurons. And the connections between these neurons, the neural pathways, are constantly being formed and reformed based on your thoughts, feelings, and, most importantly, your actions. The old saying in neuroscience is, neurons that fire together, wire together. Think of your current default behaviors as a superhighway in your brain. The neural pathway is wide, paved, and efficient. It takes no conscious effort to drive down it. Now think of the new behavior you want to adopt. Right now, that's just a faint footpath in the dense jungle of your mind. It's overgrown, difficult to see, and takes real effort to walk down. Every time you choose inaction and retreat to the familiar, you're driving another car down the superhighway, making it even stronger. But every time you take a small action toward your new future, you're taking a machete to that little footpath. You're clearing a little more brush. You're tamping down the earth. Do it again, and the path gets a little wider. Do it 100 times, and you've got a dirt road. Do it 1,000 times, and you've built a new highway. Eventually, this new path becomes so easy, so automatic, that it becomes your new default. The old superhighway, through disuse, begins to get overgrown and fade back into the jungle. You are physically changing the structure of your brain with your behavior. Action isn't just a consequence of who you are, it is the primary tool for deciding who you are. So how do we do this? How do we take that first step when the internal bodyguard is screaming at us to stop? We use a strategy I call the minimum viable action, or MVA. A minimum viable action is the smallest, most laughably simple step you can take toward your goal that is too small for your amygdala to register as a threat. It's an action so non-threatening, so easy, that your inner critic doesn't even have time to object. It bypasses the fear response entirely. Let's say your grand vision is to write a novel. The thought of writing a novel is huge and terrifying. It's a saber-toothed tiger of a goal. Your bodyguard will immediately tackle you with thoughts of writer's block, failure, and public ridicule. So you don't try to write a novel. What's the minimum viable action? It's not even write a chapter or write a page. The MVA is open a new document and write one sentence. Can you do that? Of course you can. It's so simple it's almost silly. But watch what happens biologically. You do it. You open the document. You write, "The wind was cold." That's it. You close the document. In that moment, you have cast a vote. You have sent a signal to your subconscious that says, "I am a person who writes." You get a tiny little burst of dopamine, the neurotransmitter of reward and motivation, because you successfully completed a task. You have taken one swing with the machete at that neural footpath. Let's take another example. Your goal is to become healthy and fit. The idea of going to the gym for an hour can be overwhelming. So what's the MVA? It's put on your workout clothes. That's it. You don't have to work out, just put the clothes on. What happens? Well, once you've got the clothes on, you might think, well, I'm already dressed, I might as well do 5 push-ups. And after 5 push-ups, you might think, I could probably walk around the block. Your MVA is the pebble that starts the avalanche of momentum. Want to start a business? Don't try to write a business plan. The MVA is spend 5 minutes Googling the name of one potential competitor. Want to learn to meditate? Don't try to meditate for 30 minutes. The MVA is sit down and focus on 3 conscious breaths. The minimum viable action is your secret weapon against your own fear response. It's a neurological cheat code. You are sneaking progress past your own internal security system. And here's where it gets truly magical. This process creates a new feedback loop, a virtuous cycle of empowerment. It works like this. Action creates evidence. Evidence builds belief. Belief inspires more action. Let's go back to the writer. You take the MVA, write one sentence. That is a piece of physical evidence. You are no longer just a person who wants to write. You are undeniably a person who has written today. This evidence speaks directly to your subconscious. It starts to challenge the old belief that I'm not a real writer. It plants a new seed. Maybe I am a writer. This new, slightly stronger belief makes it a little bit easier to take the next MVA tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow you write 2 sentences. More evidence. The belief gets a little stronger. The neural pathway gets a little wider. Soon, writing a paragraph isn't scary. Then a page. You are building a bridge of evidence, one plank at a time, from your old self to your new one. You are no longer just observing a potential future. You are physically walking your way into it. You are taking action as a vote, and you are slowly but surely winning the election for a new reality. This is the embodiment of the observer effect. Your focused attention, the intention, amplified by your coherent energy, the emotion, is now directing your physical body, the action. You are aligning your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors. When mind, heart, and body are all pointing in the same direction, you become an unstoppable force of creation. You are no longer just sending a signal into the quantum field. You are becoming a walking, talking antenna, actively drawing that reality to you and stepping into it. The universe doesn't respond to your thoughts alone. It responds to your energy, your frequency. And action is energy made manifest. It is the final, crucial step that collapses the wave of potential into the particle of experience. It is the proof to yourself and to the field that you are no longer asking for a new life. You are claiming it. You are behaving as if it has already happened. So I ask you again, what is the blueprint you've been holding? What is the new world you've been dreaming of? It's time to stop standing on the edge. It's time to take the first step. I want you to do this right now. Not later, not tomorrow. Right now. Pause this recording if you have to. Identify the grand vision, the new reality you are creating. Now, break it down. What is the absolute, smallest, most ridiculously easy, minimum viable action you can take in the next 10 minutes that aligns with that vision? Is it sending that one email you've been dreading? Is it lacing up your running shoes and just standing on your front step? Is it dragging that old guitar out from under your bed and playing a single chord? Is it writing one sentence? Is it making one healthy choice for your next meal? Identify it. See it clearly in your mind. Feel the fear, the resistance, the excuses bubble up. Hear your bodyguard telling you all the reasons why you should do it later. Thank it for trying to protect you, and then, with calm, quiet intention, do it anyway. Take that one tiny step. Cast that one single vote. Because in that small, seemingly insignificant action, you are doing more than just checking an item off a to-do list. You are defying your past. You are rewiring your brain. You are changing your energy. You are telling the universe that you are ready. You are no longer just an observer of a potential new world. You are the one who is walking it into being. But what happens when you do this? What happens when you cast your vote, take a step forward, and the old world feels like it's pulling you back with an invisible tether? What happens when you face resistance, self-doubt, and the inevitable glitches in the system that try to convince you your old reality is the only real one? That, my friends, is the final test. And that is exactly what we are going to deconstruct and conquer in our next chapter. Have you ever been on a roll, truly feeling the shift, seeing the evidence of your new reality begin to surface, only to wake up one morning and find yourself right back where you started? That feeling, that gut-wrenching sense of a system crash, of all your progress vanishing in a puff of smoke? What do you do when the ghost of your old life reaches out and pulls you back into the fog? Welcome to Chapter 9. We're going to talk about the single most discouraging, most frustrating, and most misunderstood part of this entire journey. We're going to talk about the glitch. The glitch is that moment of regression. It's the unexpected argument that throws you back into old patterns of defensiveness. It's the sudden wave of self-doubt that feels just as crippling as it did a year ago. It's the bank account that dips, the anxiety that flares, the old habit that resurfaces with a vengeance. It's the moment your mind screams, "See, I told you it was all a fantasy. Nothing has changed. You haven't changed." And in that moment, it's so easy to believe it. It's easy to throw your hands up and decide that this whole conscious creator thing is a lie, that you're destined to repeat the same loops forever. I'm here to tell you that not only is that feeling a lie, but the glitch itself is not the sign of failure you think it is. In fact, it is the opposite. The glitch is a sign that you are winning. It is a sign that the old program is fighting for its life because you are so close to deleting it for good. Today, we're going to dismantle the glitch. We're going to understand its mechanics, strip it of its power, and turn it from a roadblock into a slingshot that launches you even further into your desired reality. So let's start by pulling back the curtain on this phantom that haunts your progress. Why does it happen? Why, when you've been so diligent, so focused, does the old reality seem to snap back with such incredible force? The answer isn't metaphysical, it's biological. It's baked right into the hardware of your brain and the wiring of your nervous system. Think of your brain as a dense, sprawling landscape. For decades, you've been traveling the same roads. The road of "I'm not good enough." The road of "money is scarce." The road of "I'm always unlucky in love." Every time you thought those thoughts, felt those feelings, and took actions based on them, you were paving those roads. You were turning dirt tracks into paths, paths into roads, and roads into massive 8-lane superhighways. Your brain, in its brilliant efficiency, insulated these neural pathways with something called myelin, making the electrical signals travel faster and faster. Your old reality isn't just a memory, it's a deeply entrenched, high-speed neural infrastructure. Now, over the last few chapters, you've started a new construction project. You've become the observer. You've started to choose new thoughts. You've begun to build a new road. The road of "I am worthy," of "abundance flows to me," of "I am capable of deep, fulfilling love." But right now, that new road is little more than a machete-hacked path through a thick jungle. It takes effort to walk it. It requires conscious attention. The glitch happens when you're tired, stressed, or caught off guard. In those moments, your brain, as a survival machine, performs a simple energy calculation. It says, do I spend a massive amount of energy hacking my way down this new, unfamiliar jungle path? Or do I take the smooth, fast, effortless superhighway of the old familiar pattern? 9 times out of 10, it defaults to the path of least resistance. It defaults to the superhighway. And suddenly, bam, you're back in the old thought loop, the old emotional reaction, the old reality. It's not a personal failure. It's a biological default setting. But there's another, more primal force at play here. It's your brain's ancient security system. Deep in your temporal lobe, you have a little almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. This is your watchtower. Its only job is to scan the horizon for threats. And here's the crucial part. Your amygdala is not designed for your happiness. It's not designed for your expansion. It is designed for one thing and one thing only, your survival. And to your amygdala, change, even positive change, is a potential threat. The old reality, no matter how painful it was known. It was predictable. You survived it. This new reality you're building, this new version of you, it's unknown territory. It's a predator that might be lurking in the bushes. So when you start making real, tangible progress, your amygdala can sometimes sound the alarm. It floods your system with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate increases, your breathing becomes shallow, and the blood flow is directed away from your rational brain, the prefrontal cortex, and towards your limbs, preparing you to fight or flee. This is the biological storm of a glitch. Your prefrontal cortex, the very part of your brain you've been using to be the observer, to set intentions, and to visualize your future, goes temporarily offline. You are literally, biologically, cut off from your most evolved and creative self. All you're left with is the raw, terrified, reactive programming of the past. This is why a glitch feels so total, so overwhelming. In that moment, you can't think your way out of it, because the thinking part of your brain has been hijacked by the survival part. To add insult to injury, our brains also come with a factory-installed negativity bias. For our ancestors, it was far more important to remember the one poisonous berry than the 100 delicious ones. It was more important to remember the roar of the lion than the beauty of the sunset. Your brain is Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. So when the glitch happens, your brain latches onto it as definitive proof that the danger is real and the new reality is a lie. It will ignore the 100 small pieces of evidence that things are changing and magnify this one moment of regression until it fills your entire field of vision. So let's be clear, the glitch is not a sign that you are weak. It's not a sign that this work isn't effective. The glitch is a biological, neurological, and evolutionary response to you stepping so far out of your familiar comfort zone that your ancient survival mechanisms are freaking out. It is the dying scream of the old paradigm. It is the ultimate confirmation that what you are doing is working so well it has been flagged as a threat to the established order. Now that you know the why, now that you understand the mechanics behind the curtain, let's get to the how. How do you navigate this storm? How do you handle the glitch not as a victim, but as the observer, as the architect of your reality? I am going to give you a 4-step toolkit. This is your emergency protocol for the moment the old reality pulls you back. The first step is what I call the 3-second rule. Observe, don't absorb. The moment you feel it, the sinking feeling, the familiar sting of that old negative thought, your instinct is to wrestle with it, to fight it, to push it away. But what you resist persists. Fighting the thought is like wrestling with a ghost in your own living room. You'll only end up exhausted and breaking your own furniture. Instead, you do nothing. For just 3 seconds, you become the silent watcher we talked about in Chapter 4. You take one deep, conscious breath. And with that breath, you take one step back mentally. You are not the storm of emotion. You are the lighthouse, standing firm and watching the waves crash against the rocks. You don't have to stop the waves. You just have to not let them pull you into the sea. In that moment of observation, you label the experience, not with judgment, but with the dispassionate curiosity of a scientist. Ah, there is the feeling of anxiety. Interesting, the I'm not good enough story is playing again. Hello, fear, I see you. This simple act of naming and observing does something miraculous in your brain. It disengages the reactive amygdala and brings your prefrontal cortex, your observer self, back online. You are shifting from being the actor lost in the drama to being the director watching the scene. You don't absorb the energy, you simply acknowledge its presence. That's it. That's step 1. 3 seconds, 1 breath, observe, don't absorb. The second step is a powerful principle, an ancient parable retold for the modern creator. Starve the old wolf, feed the new one. You know the story. An old Cherokee chief tells his grandson that there is a battle going on inside of him, a battle between 2 wolves. One wolf is darkness and despair. It is anger, ego, resentment, and fear. The other wolf is light and joy. It is peace, love, hope, and truth. The grandson asks, which wolf will win? The chief simply replies, the one you feed. The glitch is the old wolf, snarling and howling for your attention. It's begging you to feed it with your focus, your energy, your agreement. Every second you spend ruminating on the negative thought, replaying the argument, or wallowing in the feeling of failure, you are feeding that old wolf, making it stronger. Your job is not to fight the old wolf. That's a battle you can't win head-on. Your job is to simply turn your back on it and feed the other one. This requires a pattern interrupt. You must deliberately and physically break the state you are in. If you're sitting down, stand up. If you're inside, go outside, even for just 60 seconds. Put on a song that makes you feel powerful. Splash cold water on your face. Watch a 2-minute clip of your favorite comedian. Call a friend and talk about something completely different. You are creating a hard reset in your nervous system. You are cutting off the fuel supply, your attention, to the old neural pathway. The old wolf can't survive without your focus. Starve it. And then deliberately feed the new one. Think of one thing you're grateful for. Recall one piece of evidence that your new reality is working. Look at a picture that brings you joy. You are consciously choosing to place your energy, your focus, your life-giving attention onto the neural pathways of the future you are creating. Step 3 is about reclaiming your power as a creator. Re-engage the architect by asking a better question. When you're in a glitch, your brain will ask you the most disempowering questions imaginable. Why does this always happen to me? What did I do wrong? When will I ever learn? These questions are traps. They are invitations to spiral down the rabbit hole of self-blame and victimhood. They send your brain on a mission to find all the evidence from your past to prove that you are, in fact, a failure. You must interrupt this interrogation and become the one who asks the questions. Once you've used the pattern interrupt to get some breathing room, you must deliberately re-engage your prefrontal cortex, the architect, with a better assignment. Instead of, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this situation trying to teach me?" Or, "What strength is this challenge asking me to develop?" Instead of, "What's wrong with me?" ask, "What would the highest and best version of myself, the person I am becoming, do right now?" Instead of feeling helpless, ask, "What is one small, simple action I can take in the next 5 minutes to realign with the future I choose?" Do you feel the difference? These questions shift you instantly from effect to cause. They switch you from a passive victim of your reality to the active creator of it. A better question is a rudder in the storm. It doesn't stop the waves, but it allows you to steer your ship in the direction you want to go instead of being tossed about by the winds of your old programming. This brings us to our fourth and final tool, which may be the most important one for the long term. This is your anchor in the new reality. Step 4 is maintain your evidence log. The old reality feels so convincing during a glitch because it has a lifetime of data to back it up. Your brain has a massive, perfectly organized filing cabinet filled with every failure, every heartbreak, every disappointment you've ever experienced. When the glitch hits, it opens that cabinet and dumps all the files on your head. You need to build a new filing cabinet. You need to become a meticulous, relentless collector of new data. I want you to start an evidence log today. This can be a physical journal, a note on your phone, a document on your computer. Every single day, without fail, your job is to write down at least one piece of evidence, no matter how small, that you are changing and that your reality is shifting. Did a stranger smile at you? Write it down. Did you find a prime parking spot? Write it down. Did you handle a stressful moment with 1% more calm than you would have a year ago? Write it down. Did you have a sudden insight, a feeling of peace, a small financial win? Write it down. This is not a feel-good exercise. This is a neurocognitive reprogramming strategy. You are consciously battling the brain's negativity bias by forcing it to acknowledge and record positive data. You are building, brick by brick, a library of proof for your new reality. And here's how you use it. When the glitch hits, when your mind is screaming that nothing is working, you do not argue with it. You do not try to reason with it. You simply open your evidence log and you start reading. You read about the parking spot, the compliment from your boss, the moment of unexpected joy, the small problem that resolved itself. You flood your consciousness with the undeniable factual data of your new world. You are reminding your brain that its old fear-based story is now outdated. You are showing it the new data, the new truth. This log becomes your anchor, the unbreakable chain that holds you fast to the shore of your new reality, even when the storms of the old one are raging. So let's put it all together. The glitch is not your failure. It is the friction that proves the machine is moving. It is the biological death rattle of your old self. And you are not powerless against it. You have a plan. First, you observe, don't absorb. You become the lighthouse in the storm. Second, you starve the old wolf and feed the new one. You use a pattern interrupt to cut off the fuel supply of your attention. Third, you ask a better question. You re-engage your inner architect and shift from victim to creator. And fourth, you consult your evidence log. You anchor yourself in the undeniable proof of your new reality. Every time you navigate a glitch using these tools, you do more than just survive it. You metabolize it. You turn the poison into medicine. You weaken the old neural superhighway and you pave the new path a little more smoothly. You are training your nervous system. You are teaching your amygdala that this new territory is not just safe, it is home. Think of it like a video game. The glitch is the boss level that appears right before you're about to unlock a new power or enter a new world. It looks terrifying. It seems impossible, but it is designed to test the very skills you have been learning. And every time you face it, not with fear, but with a strategy, you become stronger, wiser, and more powerful than you were before. So the next time it happens, and it will, I want you to take a deep breath, maybe even smile, and say, there you are. I've been expecting you. Let's dance. Because every glitch you successfully navigate is not a step back. It is the very training that forges you, once and for all, into the unshakable architect of your being. So, what if you weren't born to simply live a life, but to design one? Think about that for a moment. Not to inherit a blueprint, not to follow a pre-drawn map, but to be the one holding the drafting pencil, the T-square, the compass. To be the one who stands on the empty plot of your potential and says, here, this is where the foundation will go. This is how high the towers will reach. Over the last 9 chapters, we have journeyed together from the unconscious audience member to the active observer. We've peeled back the illusion of a solid, fixed reality and revealed the quantum mirror, a world that responds not to what we want, but to who we are being. We've woken up from the autopilot trap, stepped outside the frame to become the silent watcher, and begun the critical work of rewriting the obsolete code of our limiting beliefs. You've learned to aim the spotlight of your intention, to amplify your signal with the frequency of your heart, and to cast a vote for your future with every aligned action you take. Just last chapter, we navigated the inevitable glitch, that powerful gravitational pull of the past. You now have the tools to handle setbacks, not as failures, but as feedback from a system you are actively recalibrating. You've done the work, you've laid the groundwork, but now we arrive at the final, most crucial stage of this transformation. This is where the practice ends and the new way of life begins. This is where we move from doing the work to being the work. This is where you graduate from a student of reality creation to the master architect of your own being. Because here is the great and sometimes intimidating truth. It's one thing to have a moment of clarity, a week of focused intention, or a month of feeling like a new person. It's another thing entirely to make this your permanent state of existence. The ultimate challenge isn't creating a new reality, it's stopping yourself from unconsciously recreating the old one. So, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the biological gravity that keeps pulling you back. Why is it that after a period of profound change, the old habits, the old thoughts, the old emotional reactions can creep back in with such force? It's not a failure of your willpower. It's not a sign that this doesn't work. It is, in fact, a sign that your body and brain are working exactly as they were designed to, based on an old set of instructions. Imagine your brain is a vast, dense forest. For decades, you've walked the same path from your home of "I'm not enough" to the river of anxious uncertainty. You've walked it so many times that it's no longer a path, it's a 6-lane superhighway. The trees are cleared, the ground is paved, and the route is lit with familiar signposts of self-criticism and worry. It's an efficient, effortless journey. Now, you've decided you want to go to a new destination, the mountain of "I am a powerful creator." There's no highway to this place yet. To get there, you have to push through thick underbrush, hack away at vines with a machete, and navigate by the sun. It's hard work. It takes conscious effort and immense energy. This is neuroplasticity in action. Every time you think a thought or feel an emotion, you are strengthening a neural connection. The old superhighway of your past self is the product of years, even decades of reinforcement. The new path to your future self is brand new. When you're tired, when you're stressed, when you're not paying attention, which path do you think your brain, an organ designed for maximum efficiency, is going to take by default? It's going to get on the highway. This is compounded by another ancient survival mechanism, the negativity bias. Your brain is not designed to make you happy, it's designed to keep you alive. For our ancestors, survival meant constantly scanning the horizon for predators, for threats, for what could go wrong. The one who noticed the beautiful sunset was lovely, but the one who noticed the saber-toothed tiger hiding in the bushes was the one who passed on their genes. Your brain is therefore hardwired to give more weight, more attention, and more memory space to negative experiences than to positive ones. It's a biological insurance policy against danger. But in our modern world, the saber-toothed tiger is a critical email from your boss, a passive-aggressive comment from a family member, or a scary headline on the news. Your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, doesn't know the difference. It floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline, the hormones of stress. And here's the insidious part. Your body can literally become addicted to this chemical cocktail. You can become so accustomed to the biochemistry of struggle, anxiety, and limitation that a state of peace, joy, and empowerment feels unfamiliar, foreign, even unsafe. And the body, craving the familiar, will subconsciously look for thoughts and circumstances that will generate those old, familiar, stressful chemicals. This is the gravitational pull. This is the undertow of the past. It's not a mystical force, it's biology, it's chemistry, it's physics. It's a biological system running on an outdated program. But you are the programmer. You are the architect. And an architect doesn't just design a building and walk away hoping it gets built correctly. An architect oversees the entire process. They consult the blueprint daily. They manage the crew. They solve problems as they arise. They hold the vision of the finished structure with unwavering certainty, even when all they can see is mud, steel beams, and chaos. Living permanently as a conscious creator means adopting the mindset and the habits of the architect. It's not about a one-time decision, it's about a permanent shift in identity. And this shift is built upon three foundational pillars. The first pillar is the daily blueprint practice. An architect would never begin a day of construction without looking at the blueprint. To do so would be to invite chaos, to allow the construction crew to build based on their old habits and assumptions. The same is true for you. You cannot wake up, roll out of bed, check your phone, and expect to build a new life. If you do that, you are handing the blueprint over to your subconscious programming and the demands of the outside world. You are starting your day in reaction mode. The daily blueprint practice is your non-negotiable morning ritual of conscious design. It's the first and most important decision you will make every day. Before the world has a chance to tell you who you will tell it who you are. This isn't about a 5-minute half-hearted meditation. This is about deliberately and intentionally activating your prefrontal cortex, the architect's office of your brain, and generating the neurochemistry of your future. Here's what it looks like. You wake up. Before you do anything else, you find a quiet space. You close your eyes. And first, you bring to mind the vision of your future self. Not just what you have, but who you are. How does that person feel? Confident, peaceful, abundant, joyful. Don't just think the word, generate the feeling in your body. Let it wash over you. Remember from Chapter 7, emotion is the amplifier. You are turning on your signal. You are marinating your cells in the chemistry of your future. You are reminding your body what it feels like to be that person. Then you set a clear intention for the day. Today, I am the embodiment of patience and creativity. Today, I see opportunities for abundance everywhere. Today, I interact with every person from a place of love and wholeness. This intention acts as the primary directive for your subconscious mind. It's the instruction you give to the construction crew. By doing this, you are performing a profound biological act. You are consciously choosing to fire and wire new neural networks. You are telling your brain, this is our new highway. This is our new default. You are using your conscious mind, your prefrontal cortex, to get out ahead of the reactive, fear-based amygdala. You are, quite literally, changing your brain and your body's chemistry to match your potential before your reality has even had a chance to catch up. This daily practice is the foundation. It is the slab upon which the entire structure of your new life is built. Do not skip it. The second pillar is mastering the art of neutral observation. As the architect, you will spend time on the construction site of your life. And construction sites are messy. There will be delays. The wrong materials will be delivered. There will be unexpected problems. In your life, this will manifest as the old thoughts, the old insecurities, the old emotional reactions bubbling up to the surface. The voice of "you can't do this" will get loud. The feeling of anxiety will tighten your chest. The impulse to procrastinate will feel overwhelming. The old you, the unconscious reactor, would jump into the muddy pit with the problem. You would wrestle with the negative thought, argue with it, try to suppress it, or worse, believe it. And what happens when you give a thought your energy and attention? You feed it. You reinforce its neural pathway. You are, in that moment, helping to rebuild the very structure you're trying to demolish. The architect of being operates from a higher perspective. You stand on the hill overlooking the site. You see the problem arise, but you are not in the problem. You practice neutral observation. When the thought, "I'm not good enough," appears, you don't engage. You don't fight. You simply notice it. Ah, there it is, the not good enough program. I see it. You label it as an old piece of code, a biological habit, a ghost in the machine. This act of labeling and observing is one of the most powerful things you can do. Neuroscientists have shown that the simple act of naming an emotion or a negative thought pattern shifts brain activity from the reactive, emotional amygdala to the thoughtful, rational prefrontal cortex. You are literally moving from the passenger seat of reaction to the driver's seat of conscious awareness. You are becoming the silent watcher we discussed in Chapter 4, but as a permanent state. By refusing to give the old program your emotional energy, you starve it. A neural pathway that isn't used begins to weaken. It's like a trail in the forest that is no longer walked upon. Eventually, nature reclaims it. The undergrowth returns, and the path disappears. Your job isn't to fight the old reality. Your job is to make it irrelevant by withdrawing your focus, your energy, and your belief from it. You observe it neutrally, you let it pass like a cloud in the sky, and you gently, consistently return your focus to your blueprint, to the vision and feeling of the future you are creating. This is not a battle. It is an art. The art of letting the old self wither away from neglect. And this brings us to the third and most transformative pillar, embodying the future self now. This is where we collapse the space between cause and effect. The old model of reality says, first I will have the success, then I will feel worthy. First I will have the relationship, then I will feel loved. First I will have the money, then I will feel abundant. That is the model of the unconscious creator, waiting for the outer world to give them permission to feel good. The architect of being understands a deeper law. You must be it to see it. You are not waiting for the world to change. You are the catalyst for that change. Embodying your future self means making decisions, thinking thoughts, and taking actions from the identity of the person you are becoming, not the person you have been. Throughout your day, in small moments and big ones, you must ask yourself one simple question. How would the person I am becoming handle this? When you're stuck in traffic, do you react with the old stress and frustration flooding your body with cortisol? Or do you ask, how would the peaceful, centered version of me experience this moment? Maybe they'd breathe deeply. Maybe they'd listen to an inspiring chapter of an audiobook. You are choosing to generate a different chemical reality in your body, regardless of the external circumstance. When faced with a difficult conversation, do you shrink back with the old fear of conflict? Or do you ask, how would the confident, articulate version of me approach this? You access that state. You stand a little taller. You speak with clarity. You are acting as if, which is the most powerful way to signal to your brain and body that a change has occurred. This isn't faking it. Faking it implies a disconnect. This is being it, which implies a deep internal alignment. Every time you choose to respond from your future self instead of reacting from your past self, you are doing more than changing your behavior. You are pruning old neural pathways and sprouting new ones. You are telling every cell in your body that it's a new day and a new regime. You are literally reconditioning your body to a new mind. You are becoming the living, breathing evidence of your own transformation. You are the architect walking through the half-finished building as if it were already complete, feeling the echo of the grand hall, hearing the music that will one day be played there. You embody the finished product long before the last brick is laid. So these are the pillars, the daily blueprint practice to set the design for your day. Mastering neutral observation to manage the construction site without getting lost in the mud. And embodying the future self to live from the end result now. This is not a checklist to be completed. This is a new way of living. It's a commitment to your own evolution. To be the architect of your being is to accept that you are 100% responsible for the quality of your thoughts and the vibration of your energy. It is to know in your very bones that your inner world of thought and feeling is the causal realm, and the outer world of experience is the world of effect. The journey we have taken together through this book is not over. In a way, it is just beginning. You have been given the knowledge, the tools, and the blueprint, but the architect's true work is in the living, the building, the moment-by-moment choosing of the new reality over the old. Look around you. This life, this moment, this is your plot of land. For too long, you have let it be overgrown with the weeds of past programming and limiting beliefs. But now, you stand before it with a clear vision. You are the designer. You are the engineer. You are the builder. You are the architect. So, pick up your tools. Unfurl your blueprint. The sun is rising. It's time to build.